11.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet, of planet Earth, and places some might call unknown. It is time for episode 14 question mark
Confirmed.
of season 5 of the House Divided podcast.
Yes. How you doing?
I have a pulse. I would like to start this show by thanking the Ohio State men's basketball team for
Oh God.
giving me a reason to be at least slightly happy and be here on this show today.
You know, that's funny because right before I closed Twitter, right when you were starting the intro, I saw a tweet that said, Ohio State fans are actually saying we're a basketball school right now, and Michigan football fans are saying Michigan fans are saying we're a football school, and how upside down the world has become in the last calendar year.
That's all I got to say is, yep. Thank you.
Michigan basketball was on top of the world about this time last year. I think it was around the time we hit number 1 in the country, or early-ish in the season. And then, but before all the COVID stuff started to happen, and well, the COVID stuff did happen with Michigan and Ohio State in football last year. So crazy how things change. But we will get to that in due course.
So let's start the show with stupid people say stupid things. Do we have anything else to add to the intro?
I don't think so. I think we're all good.
Let's start with stupid people say stupid things. I have 1.5.
Oh wow!
Or
that
even
might be an all-time low for you.
I mean, I technically could group part of this into 2 because I have an honorable mention. Oh. I have a half because it's just one large group of humans, of stupid people, and then only one actual targeted individual.
Why do I have a feeling I know who the targeted individual?
I don't know who do you think the targeted individual is?
I'll tell you if I'm right.
Okay.
Or if I'm wrong when the time arrives.
Also, my honorable mention is also one large group of people.
Okay.
And this isn't really stupid. It's just comical how things have flipped. My honorable mention is Michigan fans on Twitter dunking on Paul Feinbaum and giving him exactly what he wants. Paul Feinbaum is a stupid person.
You know what's funny?
Everybody dunking on him, I find, is fucking hilarious. By the way, because I hate Paul Feinbaum also, just like everybody else.
What's very funny about Paul Feinbaum in that situation is that he went on to his show on Monday, and actually on ESPN as a whole, and did something that I didn't think Paul Feinbaum was capable of doing. He said, "I was wrong," and he said, "Well, I wanted Michigan to get it done this weekend."
No, he didn't.
No, you did not. No, you did not. He is hated. He hates anything that isn't the SEC. It's just what he is.
I'm going to go a step further. Paul Feinbaum hates anything that isn't Alabama.
Right. He probably if Alabama goes out and loses to Georgia this weekend, which they probably will.
Most likely.
Paul Feinbaum would probably be still pushing for him to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And get the 4 seed, play Georgia again,
and lose to Georgia again.
Again. Like,
fucking.
I'm just waiting for it.
No, you're right. And the reason Michigan fan, again, I think the Michigan fans dunking on him on the past 5 days, fucking hilarious. But
I dunked on him on Saturday. Then I left him alone.
Saturday was when it was the heaviest. But the reason they make honorable mention here is because Paul Feinbaum on Monday walked into ESPN and they handed him one fat fucking check because of how much.
Probably.
Like, this is, and I'm going to go back to, every Ohio State fan knows who Mark May, everybody knows who Mark May is. He's a professional idiot.
I had forgotten who Mark May was until you brought him up this past weekend. Unfortunately, I can no longer say that I've forgotten.
I, as an Ohio State fan, can very much say Ohio State fans kept Mark May relevant for his entire fucking career. Mark May even at one. Go ahead.
Let's be honest. Feinbaum ain't going nowhere, no matter what Michigan fans or anybody else.
Well, no,
he's still gonna be there.
Which is comical because everybody fucking hates. I think everybody at ESPN hates him.
I mean, he's Stephen A. Smith, but a million times worse.
Yes.
Stephen A. Smith at least is accurate like 1 out of every 100 times he says things. When is Paul Feinbaum ever right?
2014, first year of the college football playoff. Paul Feinbaum said whoever could beat Alabama would win the national title.
Oh wow.
Ohio State beat Alabama and they won the national title.
What a prophet.
I think the only reason he was saying that is because he didn't expect anyone to beat Alabama that year.
Probably doesn't expect anybody to beat Alabama this year, even though it's already happened.
I think that's the only reason that he said that. So there's that. But as I was saying, the reason I found this so like comical and why it's here, Mark May at one point said, even though they hate me, I love Ohio State fans because they keep me getting paid.
More so probably for Mark May than Paul Feinbaum, but yes.
Yes. But, and I found it was hilarious, like, Paul Feinbaum is Michigan's Mark May. And if
he's everybody's Mark May.
Yeah, he is. Now my real stupid people say stupid things. The full group, every single Ohio State fan defending Jack Miller in my Twitter mentions. Still.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
This has been going on since Sunday. On Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening-ish, November 28th, Ohio State backup quarterback, fourth string quarterback, who has not been with the team for the past month and a half, ish.
About a month, I would say, right?
It's been like 5 weeks.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
It seems even longer because he didn't dress for Michigan State or travel up to Ann Arbor from Columbus.
Wouldn't have been needed.
No. And he was already in the process of losing the job to Quinn Ewers before the DUI.
Yeah, that's.
Or the DUI that the charges got reduced to a traffic misdemeanor.
Right. And people, I'm sure, want to shit on you because you don't believe in the legal process. He got cleared of all the charges and got dropped to a misdemeanor traffic offense. Everybody can see what's going on there. He's a rich kid that plays for Ohio State, and he got out of it.
Some of that was that. Some of those were in my Twitter mentions. Yes, those were. Some of it were. Well, you've never made a mistake before, and then some of it even more. Well, nobody was hurt, so it's not that bad.
Oh, yeah.
Every single Ohio State fan in my Twitter mentions saying that, losing Jack Miller is a big deal because it's not.
Losing a fourth-string quarterback is never a big deal.
Jack Miller lost his spot. Sure, he lost it a little sooner than he would have because he got suspended for operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated.
Yes.
That at the heart was what it was. He failed the field sobriety test. I do not give a fuck. I do not give a fuck that the charges got dropped. Jack Miller refused to take a breathalyzer. He failed the field sobriety test. I don't fucking care that, it got dropped.
I mean, I understand how the charges get dropped still, just because...
Or reduced, I should say.
I mean, and it'd be the same, I'm not saying this just because it's an Ohio State thing. But look, he's a rich white kid that plays for Ohio State. Of course the charges... He ain't gonna get charged with that.
No.
Never.
Which is even more what makes it more frustrating. JT Barrett got a DUI a few years ago when he was still a starter. His charges didn't get reduced, and he was the starting quarterback.
Actually, didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that happening.
It's because it happened during a bye week. Huh. He was suspended for the game against Little Sisters of the Poor Technical Institute, State Tech.
A&M.
A&M. State.
Tech.
Yeah.
Mechanical.
I think they played like Toledo that following week.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, JT Barrett's charges didn't get reduced, and he was the starter.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Jack Miller, fourth string. Like, don't get me wrong. Best of luck to the kid. Hope he goes somewhere and balls out.
I mean, I don't know where he winds up, but
it's not gonna be a big school.
I would anticipate not.
He was already in the process of losing his job to a 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So losing him.
He can go play for Tennessee. Compete with Joe Milton.
I also, yes, Colin, I hope he stops making stupid decisions after drinking alcohol too. I hope he gets things done. And sure, maybe freshman at Ohio State he makes a dumb mistake. Still no fucking excuse to drive. So all of those people...
We've been over this with Henry Ruggs and Jack Miller when this first broke. So it's just...
Like, no excuse. And as someone who played... There's a thing called the Brotherhood. It's not just at Ohio State. Ohio State preaches it. The coaches have preached it since actually Jim Tressel. It's everywhere. Pick up the fucking phone and call someone. Unless you were just that disliked on the team. Which, Jack Miller, it's possible. But all I could say is Kevion Pope, who threw his temper tantrum against Akron, that got him removed from the team. Ohio State players still love and support him. So
I saw a couple people saying they wish that Pope was out there on Saturday.
No, he wouldn't have made a difference.
He wasn't a starter, correct?
No.
See. That's what I thought, but I was very confused about it.
Kevion Pope, before he got removed from the team for that, across 4 years, hit 12 tackles. Is a linebacker? Yeah. And my actual...
To be fair, linebacker was a big need on Saturday, but...
Well, defensive coaching was a big need. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
in a few minutes.
We got so much to get to with that.
Actually, I'll talk about defensive coaching well later into the show.
Oh no.
My one stupid person saying a stupid thing, one singular targeted person, comes from Twitter.
Oh, then probably not.
And this came in the aftermath of Ohio State beating Duke. So yes. Jordan is definitely wrong, most likely.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Harbaugh for the whole born on third base. Think they had a triple thing.
I do not like that quote because going to Michigan is literally being born on third base thinking you hit a triple, because Harbaugh won 10 games his first year at Michigan.
Yeah, with the team that Brady Hoke went like 3-76 with, whatever the record that final year was. Bad.
It
bad.
Wasn't good, but yeah.
But no, there was way more talent on that team than what Hoke got out of him.
Well, Brady Hoke's a terrible coach.
Apparently not, man. San Diego State
plays literally nobody.
Yes, but we'll get to San Diego State in the picks. I can't believe they're even in
there. Yeah. Comes from Twitter. This guy's handle is Viewers. Something yeah. We had one and game. LMAOOOOO. You guys are still and shit. He was tweeting the reply to the Ohio State men's basketball team.
So, assuming this is a Duke fan.
Yes.
where's Duke been last few years?
Come tournament time, home. Same place Ohio State's been, for the most part, or after the first round.
Well, I was going to give you guys credit for making it, but, poor Bob.
Or, yeah. And then he comes again with, well, yeah, because this person's from North Carolina. So there is, yeah, that's why there's a lack of brain cells. Comes back with, it was just luck. Y'all still ass and LMAOOOOO.
What in the Horace is that? Honestly, that's dumber than Horace.
I had a lack of brain cell working and told this man Duke shot 7 for 31 in the second half and 25 for 65 in the whole game.
Yeah, and yet I saw a lot of Duke fans after that game yesterday, or 2 days
Tuesday,
ago, saying Duke versus refs.
Yeah, that was my mistake because I tried to use numbers bigger than 5, and this individual comes back with, it's called, oops, I just closed that. Here, I got it back already. It's called one bad game because he's stupid ASF, and there is a reason you're not ranked.
You will be.
Well, I myself am not ranked in college basketball because I am not a college basketball team, nor will I ever be a college basketball team or
I don't know.
A college basketball player.
The Turbo Yodas sound like a team that would dominate everything ever.
So yep, that's my stupid people say stupid things. This I can't even, being from the South, being originally born and raised in the South, I wish I could. I can translate some Alabama on occasion, just being in the same general region of Alabama, and I'm even technically in the same general region of North Carolina, but I can't even begin to translate that. That's just stupid.
Most of the time, I can at least try and sort of understand what Horace is saying.
Yeah, because what Horace is saying is, I dropped out of school in 2nd grade to play the banjo, and my sister's also my cousin and my wife.
Yeah, that's
Roll Tide.
Hashtag Roll Tide. Okay. So, for my
I'm very mean to the state of Alabama.
I mean, they deserve it. I start off, oddly enough, in the world of NASCAR.
Huh?
Yep.
But
didn't expect this.
They've been done for like 3 weeks.
Well, okay. So the news came out, and along with a couple other tracks, that the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway is getting a substantial amount of funding to bring NASCAR back. If everything goes according to plan. Some $48 million bill within the state to. Oh wait, no, that was North Wilkesboro. I don't. It was local Nashville funds, I think, for this one. The statewide bill was for North Wilkesboro and other tracks of the state. But so for Nashville, putting a whole bunch of money into Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway to bring it back to its former glory. Nice little short track. I've never seen a race there. It's been off the schedule far before I was born. I'm fairly certain.
Been a while.
If they raced there while I was alive, I was way too young to even know what it was. But anyway, everything I've seen just from iRacing, from what people have always said about the track, it being back sounds like a very, very good thing. So, on Twitter...
we're talking North Wilkesboro, right?
No, not North Wilkesboro, Nashville Fairgrounds.
Oh, well...
North Wilkesboro did have a race or two in my lifetime, but not
96 was the last one.
That sounds about right.
At where? Nashville?
Nashville Fairgrounds. not the Nashville Superspeedway, which kind of gets into the point of this entry here.
Continue. I'm Googling to figure out when the last one was.
Okay. We have somebody who came across and just said, that race sucked. What race, you might ask? This man is confused and thinks that the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway is Nashville Superspeedway that they did race at this year.
Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway was last used in 1984, by the way.
That sounds about right. So, man just says that race sucks. Somebody comes along and says, you must be confused. It said the fairgrounds, that track is legit, shorter than Bristol. All things true. Man comes back with, what Nashville track did they race at this past season? Nashville Superspeedway. Totally different. And the reason I even know of this tweet is because a NASCAR YouTuber Slapshoes, one of the actual NASCAR YouTubers I actually like, channel's awesome, shared this and says, I am utterly convinced that 90% of NASCAR doomsayers haven't watched a race or even paid attention to it for the last 10 years, yet still feel confident enough to post baseless opinions about a sport they know nothing about. Which is pretty much what this man is doing. I don't even know his Twitter handle because Slap is actually a decent person and blocked it out.
I would never do something like that. I want that person to be put on blast for all of eternity.
I mean, I could have probably went and looked it up, but
yeah, it's too much effort.
I know. Oh, where to now? We'll go to my Michigan fan entry.
I'm curious about this.
This is on Facebook.
Oh, never mind. I know why now. I don't know what it is, but just by saying Facebook, I know why. Because, I'm convinced 95% of people who comment about anything on Facebook are lacking the ability for intelligent thought.
Man's name is Daryl, and he was talking about Cade McNamara and the interception that he did throw.
To the worst player on Ohio State's defense?
Yes.
Fittingly enough, actually.
So, Daryl straight flat out says the first time, this isn't bad. This is just, normal stuff. Cade came back with an extremely strong game after the interception. Was it extremely strong? I mean, depends on your definition, I suppose. He just did what he had to do.
He didn't
do all year.
Didn't
turn the ball over again.
Is that the stupid thing, or?
Nope, it is not. So somebody replies to this man. He says, right, I thought that interception was going to set the tone for the rest of the game. It sure didn't. Thank God for that. Daryl comes back with, oh boy, he's got a Tom Brady-esqueness about him that I like. Not a lot of words, just leads with his actions and business-like attitude. He's a winner. I agree with some other stuff in that reply. A Tom Brady-esqueness? Huh? This man just compared Cade McNamara to Tom Brady. I love Cade. I hope he sticks around another year. Doesn't go transfer somewhere else.
Let me pull myself back to my desk. Huh? I'm going to start this with Tom Brady is the best quarterback the NFL has ever seen.
Yep.
Go start that with it right there. Now, in terms of college statistics, yes, Lloyd Carr was kind of a pylon when he had Tom Brady on the team, but
very much so.
Everything in the world said Tom Brady was gonna be not good in the NFL because he wasn't phenomenal in college. What he did at the combine was
laughable still to this day.
Yeah, accurate. Yeah, that's
his picture at the combine will forever be that, and the video of him running a 40.
Yeah. Is Cade McNamara just strictly better than Tom Brady, though? And that's exactly it. Tom Brady has all of the intangibles that you want in a quarterback.
Right.
Like, Cade McNamara just kind of... I mean, he doesn't turn the ball over. That's the best thing I could say about Cade McNamara.
That's the best thing I can say about Cade McNamara. I mean, like, he'll make some good throws, but he makes smart decisions. That's what's
like,
gotten. That's what's. I mean, you know, you can say that Cade isn't very good. And trust me, there's plenty of Ohio State fans on his Instagram that say that he should enter the transfer portal because he's no better than a D3 quarterback.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Right.
But, I've met some D3 quarterbacks and they're pretty bad at football. So,
but, I mean, we don't get to the point that we're at without him. So,
yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't make stupid mistakes.
Other than that one Saturday.
I could watch I could watch that over and over and over and over and over and over and try and find what he was looking at. And I wouldn't be able to.
Nope.
Because anyway. I know exactly what Ohio State's defense was running, and Bryson Shaw was not hidden at all.
No.
And Bryson Shaw is not a good defensive back.
We could see him on the replay. Kay didn't see him live, I guess, because he threw that ball in there like that safety was not there.
Like, Bryson Shaw is... Yes, he's a Division I football player playing in the Big Ten, playing on Ohio State. But he's not that great. Like, there's a distinct possibility, depending on what's going on next year, Bryson Shaw will not have a job at Ohio State uniform. Distinct possibility. Fans have wanted him benched since week 1.
Yikes.
We just don't have any other options because our option, Lathan Ransom, doesn't have a working leg right now.
Oh, yeah, great. Throw him out there. What's the worst that could happen, right? Okay.
Move on. Let's keep this going, but wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that either. We move on to the news that Michigan and Ohio State this past weekend was the most watched college football game of the season, most watched college football game ever on Fox. All sorts of things. Most watched college game in like 10 years.
Shocker on all parts. And not really.
What now?
Not really a shocker on any part. Because especially for this season, because a lot of the games we've had this season have been shit.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of good games like this, on paper heading in.
Yeah.
Really all year. Game almost reached 16 million viewers, which is just crazy to think about.
Whew.
But one of those was not Harry from Facebook. Harry apparently has a very, very high thought of himself and really thinks that people care what he thinks and what he does with his life. Harry says it's probably still hard for some to realize I wasn't one of those viewers. Who the fuck are you, Harry? Who are you? It's this old man. He looks 80 years old.
Loser. He's
got like 100 Facebook friends.
Loser.
That's all I got to say about Harry. Jordan, you didn't hear it, but you know what it was.
I sure do.
I honestly was expecting that to go somewhere completely different. Somewhere along the lines of there's more important there's better things to do than watch football. I don't waste my time watching TV or something. That's where I was expecting that to go.
Right.
But
I was out in the woods.
That's honestly where I was expecting that to go. But for it to go that route of, it's hard for people to believe that hard for people to accept I wasn't one of those. Huh? Who the fuck? Who are you, and who the fuck cares?
I tried to look at his Facebook to kind of gauge why he was saying what he was saying. Like if he was a Spartan fan, anything. He doesn't post much of anything. I only scrolled down his Facebook for like a minute, and I don't know if it was privacy settings or what, but it only took me about that minute to reach posts from 2015. So, with a man that old, I don't think he knows how to change privacy settings, so I'm going to say he just doesn't use Facebook.
That's distinctly possible, which means it's possible he just doesn't even know how to use his remote, so that's why he wasn't one of those people.
Right, yeah. Too busy tuned into Tucker Carlson.
But this also... Do you have more from Facebook?
Not for that one. In fact, not at all.
Okay, that just continues to prove my point that a lot of people on Facebook apparently aren't capable of higher thought. Or just using their brain. Majority of people who comment things on Facebook are not capable of useful, productive thoughts. So at least when it comes to sports.
I'm sure you've seen the post that this next stupid person is replying to.
Oh, God.
It is the Michigan State Police of Metro Detroit.
I've seen it.
After Saturday's game where they told people in Ann Arbor to
I've seen
celebrate responsibly, and people driving back to Ohio to drive slow because there's no hurry because your season's over. That is what they said.
I've seen it.
They've had that saved in the drafts. I was fairly confident for a very long time.
Most likely. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I feel like I know where this is going, and I don't like it.
I don't think you're expecting this.
Oh no.
So, presumptively, an Ohio State fan,
yes,
given what he's posting.
Most likely, yes. This probably has something to do with either the city of Flint or crime in Detroit. Those are my two expectations. One of those two.
It does not. In fact, it does not. No low stuff like that. I don't know what this man's Twitter handle is. It's not visible. But his name's Frederick on Twitter. Just post a screenshot of the final score of the Cincinnati Bengals at the Detroit Football Lions from earlier this year. Like, anybody gave a shit about the Detroit Lions on Saturday. Somebody just replies, "Are you really trying to flex on a police department Twitter account with a victory against the Lions?" Yes, he was.
I've seen that reply, actually. I saw that reply, and I was just like, really? This is what we're doing?
Bengals.
We're bringing on Saturday, I was convinced that the Cincinnati Bengals were going to lose.
They did not, but we'll get there later.
I was convinced that the Cincinnati Bengals were going to lose on Saturday afternoon at about 4 o'clock. I was like, yep, Bengals are going to lose tomorrow. They're going to find a way. And that, because I saw that, and then I was like, this is what we're doing. The Bengals are going to lose tomorrow, and this guy's posting about the Detroit Lions losing.
I mean, hey, at least you were on the right state of Ohio with the Bengals for the NFL this last weekend, because otherwise it could have been even worse for you. If you were a Browns fan, oh no.
The Browns suck. Everything. We'll talk about the Browns here in a little bit. Everything I've said about the Browns everything I said about the Browns in our NFL preview very well could qualify me for stupid people say stupid things.
I think you and me both, man. I remember the time early in this podcast history where none of us would pick the Browns in the picks, no matter who they were playing for any reason.
No matter what the spread was, whether or not we were picking just straight up or against the spread, nothing. Yeah, I do.
Anything. We would never pick the Browns, sometimes to our own detriment once they started to get decent. But, 2 years ago? Then they had one good year last year with a playoff win, and
now they're back to same old Browns.
Same old Browns, if that's a thing. Final entry into stupid people saying stupid things so we can get on to the news. It's actually in reply to the video of Harbaugh and his Ryan Day comment, that born on third base, think they hit a triple. Dylan on Twitter says something even more wild.
Oh, God.
He tagged Jim Harbaugh at Coach Jim for U of M.
I didn't know Jim Harbaugh had a Twitter account.
He doesn't use it very often, but he does indeed.
Fair play.
It has been there. It's been there, I think, since he's been head coach. I'm fairly certain. It's been there a long time. Enough for me to recognize that Twitter handle and know that it's actually his. He says Jim just got intentionally walked and acts like he hit a walk-off in the park home run in the bottom of the ninth in Game 7 of the World Series. Is Dylan implying that Ohio State lost the game on purpose with the intentionally walked comment? Has that broken you?
Loser.
Oh, no.
Loser.
I don't have words for that one. I tried to come up with words. All I can come up with is loser.
Just hit the button and let's fucking do the news.
Loser.
Good God above.
It's time for the... What the fuck? It's time for the news. We got news.
Yeah.
Things happened this weekend in college football that did not actually involve around the field itself.
One of these stories is not like the other.
Two of these stories are not like the other.
Well, in that sense, but I'm just talking about the last one.
Oh, yeah.
Good God.
I'll start us off. Lincoln Riley.
Please, because I would rather talk about the next
one. You do?
I sure do.
Okay. That scares me, but I also like it. Lincoln Riley, out of nowhere, goes to USC. Here are some details on that contract, not all entirely confirmed. $110 million.
Ridiculous.
USC is buying both, not just one, but both of the homes that his family has in Norman, Oklahoma, for $500,000 over the asking price.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say $500,000 total, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably a steal. Over the asking price. Nice. How is it even legal?
I don't know. Essentially, I'm assuming it's essentially just working as a contract bonus. They are buying him a $6 million home in Los Angeles for him and his family. And unlimited use of the team private jet for him and his family.
I'm sure that will get used in abundance. Wow.
Whoa.
This
First thing.
deal. Yes. Go ahead.
All of those things that I just listed. Right there. And yes, we will talk about Nebraska here shortly. I think.
What?
We will talk about
Nebraska come up. Is that in chat?
No. I'm leading with this. I believe we're going to be talking about Nebraska. They played a ranked team. They're not here in the recap because Jordan forgot them. But I digress. We'll talk about...
I copied and pasted it from the NCAA again. If they missed it, that's on them.
Okay, fair enough. This is why coaches like PJ Fleck and even more so Scott Frost, who Scott Frost has had minimal success at Nebraska. This is why you see coaches like at middling schools get extended, even though it's hard to look at and be like, why are you extending PJ Fleck at Minnesota? He's not been great there. I
think he's got them trending in the right direction, though. You know,
he does. He does. This year's a tough year for them. Injury to their all-world running back Mohamed Ibrahim,
who will be back.
Who will be back next year? That was confirmed. Even bigger though, Scott Frost, who, in a way, that team's almost. I mean, they're not really going backward because when Scott Frost took over, that program was terrible. But they're not getting better. Like what USC just did to get Lincoln Riley, if all of those are true. And apparently the person who reported those details got retweeted by the USC Trojans athletic department. So I'm sure there's some credence into it.
Wow. Yeah, I would say definitely.
That right there is what makes extending Scott Frost for a few more years a good look for Nebraska, because like, how are some of these small schools supposed to go out and get a head coach when, yes, I get Lincoln Riley is nowhere near, like, he wouldn't be looking at Oklahoma or Nebraska ever, but I doubt it. When you got schools doing stuff like that.
But if you're Lincoln Riley, I mean, how can you blame him for going?
Correct. Like, I have opinions on it.
I mean, I don't like it, but it's not Lincoln Riley's fault. It's the fault of the system.
I don't like the way he left.
Well, and
him leaving, I get it. Like, in 3 years, Oklahoma's gonna be in program purgatory.
It might be, if they already aren't there right now.
I feel like they kind of already are. You look at Lincoln Riley's tenure, they haven't really accomplished a lot. I mean, they've won the Big 12, but then they get into the college football playoff, and then they get their dick stomped in.
Now they're going to the SEC.
In 3 years. And then they're going to get their dick stomped in there. So definitely looking like they'll be program purgatory. So get while the getting's good. I don't like how you do it, saying, "Oh, I will not." Earlier this year, before we even get to him saying about not leaving, I just said him not being the coach at LSU on Saturday night. Earlier this year,
he did not lie. He just didn't tell the truth.
Earlier this year, he said he wasn't going to be leaving Oklahoma anytime soon,
and here we are.
Yeah, I guess when he was asked on the 10th of September or whatever, it wasn't soon. Couple of months.
And depending on your definition of soon.
Bob Stoops will be returning to Oklahoma to serve as the interim head coach for the bowl game.
Big game, Bob. Hey. I've always liked Bob Stoops, even before he picked Michigan on Saturday. But I've always liked Bob Stoops, mainly probably because of the nickname Big Game Bob, even though he really isn't Big Game Bob. But hey, it's still cool to see. But yeah, no, Lincoln Riley. I mean, yeah, good for you. I mean,
yeah, and
I guess
we'll talk about. I'll let you do the next one here in a minute.
Oh boy.
I'll let you before we actually break down these two moves.
That one's even worse.
Yes, go ahead. Take the next one away.
Oh boy. So, as if the college football landscape couldn't have been turned upside down and landed directly on its face, with the Lincoln Riley move, Brian Kelly has left Notre Dame for Louisiana State University, LSU, pulling the opposite of Lincoln Riley and avoiding the SEC. Brian Kelly says, that's where I want to be.
Jumping headfirst into it. Not even the SEC East. He's going to the SEC West. He wants Bama. Brian Kelly wants Bama. Again.
So. Yeah, again. Wow.
He wants third time's the charm.
So when this broke, you did not want to believe it.
No, because this move makes zero sense.
I mean, in a way, yes. It's rather quizzical, but
I mean, 96 million reasons though for it.
So
continue.
It gets confirmed in the weirdest way. But this is a couple days after, and so the night this news breaks, he allegedly sends out this text, and we talked about this while we were playing games. I read this text to you, and I'm like, this can't be. It can't be real. Brian Kelly is not saying, Ben, we have to meet at. I know it's not what Brian Kelly sounds like. Well, we have to meet at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning so I can tell you in person. Blah, 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 blah. Players show up to a 7 a.m. meeting.
Which I would, like, that right there on I believe it was on a Monday or a Tuesday, I believe. Like 7 a.m.
That broke at like midnight, that text.
7 a.m. like that right there is already fighting words.
Especially for this.
Yeah.
To have the coach that recruited you to the school, because let's be honest, he recruited every single man in that room because Brian Kelly's been there for an eternity.
Yeah, 11 years, I believe.
11, 12 years, something like that. It's been here a long time. And 7 a.m. meeting to find out
fighting
that the
words
coach that recruited you to Notre Dame is Bolton to LSU because the lights aren't bright enough at Notre Dame for him, which is literally the words he said in his press conference. It's actually what he said, which is a Michigan fan I kind of sort of love. Kind of took a crap all over Notre Dame, but anyway. That 7 a.m. meeting lasted 4 minutes. It was reported it lasted 4 minutes. Nobody believed it, but a player took a video, and I watched the whole thing.
The video didn't even last 4 minutes.
So the video that I saw was 4 minutes and 30 seconds, but included an intro from, I don't know, maybe an athletic director, somebody in a suit. I don't know who.
Oh, I missed that part. I just saw the interview.
4 minutes and 31 seconds, and then so he introduces Brian Kelly, says a whole bunch of nonsense, and then just walks off. And no questions would be asked, no questions would be answered. He walks off to a dead silent room, and then that's it. Like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, you say you could say that you don't like the way Lincoln Riley left. I, in a way, agree with you. Brian Kelly is...
Oh, no, I really hate the way Brian Kelly left. This is fucked.
Fighting words. 7 a.m. meeting.
To be there for 4 minutes.
You have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so I want to talk about this.
I mean, I get why it had to happen right now if Brian Kelly's your guy. because you got the early signing period coming up, and you need to have your head coach situation figured out.
Yes. So I'm gonna say this real quick. If a little bit of chaos happens in any combination of teams of Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State lose, Notre Dame's in.
I mean, I maybe because the committee flat out said
Notre Dame would have been in.
Yeah.
Then
literally, Alabama loses Saturday, Notre Dame's in. Now, I don't know.
Well, they would need some help from Oklahoma State too. Oklahoma State would have to look unimpressive.
Maybe committee could change their mind whenever the hell they want.
Yeah. No, you're right. Like, to have a guaranteed spot, Notre Dame would have just needed any combination of Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State losing. They're guaranteed in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gary Balta, who I have been super fucking critical of on this show for his comments about playoff expansion. In fact, he made stupid people say stupid things and Trump of the Week in the same week because of what he said, which was impressive.
A rare feat.
Yeah, I think he's the only person who's done it.
He may very well be. Because Jack Miller didn't say anything stupid.
He just was stupid.
He just was stupid. I think you're probably right.
Gary Balta came out and said there's protocol in place if a certain player or coach is unavailable for their game. So right there, that to me says that no matter what happens, Notre Dame's out. I think a lot would have
because like you said, Oklahoma State would have to either lose or be so unimpressive.
Yes, which could happen. We'll talk about that game later in the picks. It could happen. I don't know if it will.
Could, but I don't think it will. Alabama loses and they should be and they will be out. There is no way. In my mind, there is no way.
There's no way.
Even though it's Alabama, you're setting up the same game as a playoff game that we've already seen. And if Georgia wins convincingly, if it's a close game, will I be upset that if they make it? Yes. But if it's tight and that sets up a rematch, I guess whatever. But if it's a blowout, they don't deserve a shot anyway.
Yeah.
But so then at that point, we expect Alabama to lose.
Yep.
If Oklahoma State, Michigan, or Cincinnati goofs up in the slightest, you're in.
Notre Dame would have been in. Brian Kelly would have been in. And now Brian Kelly just essentially gave a giant middle finger to everybody on that staff and every player in that room.
Yeah, more so the players, man. I feel so bad for those players.
Yeah.
But for the players, so we can wrap this up, we could rant about Brian Kelly forever. The players actually were a big factor in the naming of the new Notre Dame head coach, first-year defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman. The players love him. He's done a good job at Notre Dame this year, relatively. He's got better as the season has gone on, as has that defense. So, like that. And also, somebody I didn't even realize was on the Notre Dame staff is Tommy Rees, who will be the offensive coordinator again. He'll be brought back. I only remember that name from the 2011-2012 games, Michigan and Notre Dame. Good Lord above. Forgot Tommy Rees existed, but so they listened to the players. They went out and got and they inked up Marcus Freeman. I don't know how long the deal is, but at least for the time being, for this presumptively a year, the talk of Urban Meyer, which really probably wasn't going to happen, but more importantly, Luke Fickell to Notre Dame doesn't look like it's going to be a thing. Looks like Marcus Freeman's going to be there at least a season.
I love me some Marcus Freeman.
I know you do. Ohio State alum, right?
Yes. Ohio State linebacker. There was a lot of talk of Marcus Freeman coming before him being named the head coach of Notre Dame. There was a lot of talk of him going to Ohio State as their primary target for a new defensive coordinator.
Would have made sense.
And the guy has the credentials. I think he'll be a good head coach. And
I think he will be a good head coach.
He's a player's guy too, so.
Which is apparent because that is the sole reason that he is the guy right now. Is because the players said they wanted him.
And
so that, but
about 170-ish days, a little more than that, we will actually closer to 2 something. We'll be seeing him back in Columbus.
Oh, you guys play Notre Dame next year, eh?
Yep, home opener. 200 some days.
And Michigan has to wait until 2033. You're killing me.
I don't know how we have a home and home against Notre Dame.
But anyway, yeah, Brian Kelly, fuck you. Honestly, I mean, I've always hated
fucking
Brian
terrible.
Kelly. I mean, he did the same thing to Cincinnati when he left there, and now he did the same thing to Notre Dame. And when it comes to Lincoln Riley, I say, look, it's not Lincoln Riley's fault. This is the system that college football has created. And Brian Kelly, if he just left and went to LSU, I'd say the same thing. But the way he left,
no, there's no defending the way he left. It's so bad.
You couldn't have it go any worse unless he got in front of the room in that meeting and gave them double birds.
He may as well have.
I mean, essentially, that's what he did.
He may well have.
Let me drag you in at 7 a.m. for this meeting.
Which, again, is 100% fighting words to me.
To essentially tell you, hey, great season, boys, but I'm going to single-handedly likely wreck your college football playoff chances. Thanks. Go Tigers.
Fuck.
Speaking of the Tigers, my Detroit Tigers.
Yep, you take this one because I.
So when this broke, I believe my exact words to you were, "Oh no."
Yes, they were.
I've had a couple days to think about this, and I am retracting that statement because two things are so if Javier Baez, who the Tigers have signed to a 6-year, $140 million deal, is the shortstop, because he can play both second and short. I don't hate it now as much as I did. And let me explain that. So the talk with Baez and the reason that everyone says, like, oh, he's just not a good player or whatever, mainly has to do with the strikeouts. The two strikes out an absurd amount.
Yes, very much so.
Like, I don't remember the exact percentage. I thought I saw somewhere that it was posted. It was around 40%. Just insane. But there we go. Other than that, you're looking at a guy who's a great defensive shortstop. He's got Gold Glove potential for sure. At 30 home run power. Not gonna blow you away with average, but 280, probably about the ceiling for Baez. All of these things are massive upgrades for the Detroit Tigers. Massive. And obviously the hope was Carlos Correa. And I'm going to get to Carlos Correa here in a second. Baez is not as good of a player, but you were getting him for less than half the price of what Carlos Correa is asking. Like, Carlos Correa is going to go for $350 million probably.
At least.
At least. Like, there's no question about that. And now we're going to have to wait to see where Correa goes because of the next bit of news. But I'm starting to like this Baez deal, especially if it allows us to go out, get another pitcher, and in a very weird twist of events, it's still possible that we go out and get Carlos Correa. After we got Baez, we were 18th in payroll. We signed Correa to $325 million. For 10 years, we would be 12th in payroll with still more money to spend. And then you think about 2 years, Miguel Cabrera is going to be gone. That's $30 million a year off the books. Good situation.
He's only two more years on his contract.
Only 2 more years. Well, wait, 3.
3. Okay.
23 or 22, 23, 24. Yeah.
I don't know if he'll make it that far, but it's hard to say.
I have a feeling he will, especially because now with Torkelson coming up, he's going to be a primary DH, world's most expensive DH. Maybe play first a couple times just because Miggy wants to, and he's really not that bad. Like the mobility isn't down there, and he's always been an underrated defender. Like he's lost a step. He's slow as molasses, but he can still play efficiently. The only worry with playing him every day at first base is just he gets hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't do that. But Carlos Correa could still very well end up being I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility here. We shall see.
Okay, so because of this next piece of news, I'm going to go out and say the Tigers going out and getting Javi Baez when they did was a good call.
I would say so.
Because depending on what happens with this next piece of news, things could get very, very, very complicated. And this offseason, depending on how long this lasts. The Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association are unable to agree on a new CBA by the December 1st deadline. That was yesterday, ending 26 years of not having an issue. The MLB is officially in lockout.
Ass.
So again, I don't have much to say about other than ass. We
just kind of have to see where it goes. Like,
yes,
no player deals can happen right now, and you had guys like Carlos Correa who flat out said, "I'm waiting to see if this lockout happens. I'm having my deal made after it."
Yes.
And there's a ton of players that are doing just that. But then there was a ton of players that didn't do just that.
Well, some of these guys wanted just to get it done to not have to worry about the drama.
Like Scherzer, Corey Seager.
Fuck, Scherzer.
And Robbie Ray.
That Mets team could be scary if they all stay healthy. Holy shit.
Mets have spent big. They are going full Yankees. That is.
And honestly, if that Angels team stays healthy and they can get a few more pitchers to go along with Syndergaard and Ohtani, that Angels team could be scary too.
Who did they sign today? Nobody big. Michael Lorenzen.
I don't think they probably didn't sign anybody today because of the lockout.
Well, it wouldn't have been today then, but I did see that the Angels had signed Lorenzen away from the Reds 1 year, $7 million.
That's not bad.
I mean, hey, you got Syndergaard, you got Ohtani, you got Lorenzen. Decent start to your rotation right there.
Yeah, gotta keep them healthy.
And pitching is their biggest problem.
Yeah, I mean, having Mike Trout, I'm just gonna say that those 2 games we saw him down in Detroit when they were last in Detroit back in 2019, that was a treat.
Very special experience to be able to say that we saw him play.
Yeah, and then to see Albert Pujols get his 3,000th RBI or 2,000th, whatever number. I think it was 2. Was it 2?
I think it might have. I don't know. It might have been more. That was a pretty damn cool week, I'd say.
That was a cool 2 days. Yeah, that Angels team could be really scary if they can keep everyone healthy. Having Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, as long as they stay healthy, that team's could be a threat to do things in the West. Especially things in Houston seem to be wavering a little, even though Dusty Baker is very good at what he does.
things in Houston are unraveling. The Mariners are on the up and up. They just got Robbie Ray.
Yep.
AL Cy Young winner, who I kind of wanted on the Tigers, but he was probably a little bit out of our price range. Wild times in MLB all around.
So all I'm gonna say about this is yes, ass. I almost always, me being me, will almost always side with the players and whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Because so at the same time, like this is just a shitty scenario all the way around. Because it's just people who are already making an absurd amount of money, whether it be the players or the owners, with this CBA, just want to either make more money or, for the owner's case, don't want anything to change, basically.
Yeah.
And, I've heard talks of, some portions of the players wanting a dedicated salary cap. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it needs to happen. I was just about to say something needs to happen where you have a team like the Orioles who spend nothing.
There are players, singular players, that have signed deals in the last week that are more than the Orioles' payroll.
Same with the Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland Baseball Club.
Sort of, but not to the extent of the
Orioles
and the Pirates.
Correct.
Max Scherzer's deal surpasses the payrolls of both the Pirates and the
Orioles.
Orioles, yes.
Combined, yes, which is absurd.
$37 million is the Orioles' payroll. I believe that the Pirates' payroll is $44 million. That's ridiculous.
So you're looking at 81. Yeah. You said 37 and 44. Yeah, 81 million for those two teams combined. And so so I hope something does get fixed about that. It won't.
I mean, I'm fairly certain I don't know if it was the owner. I'm fairly certain I saw somewhere that somebody was pushing for a higher luxury tax threshold. That's exactly the opposite of what we need.
I don't know who is, but that's.
I would assume the owners, because the players, especially Max Scherzer, have come out and said that we gotta get more competitive teams. Like obvious tanking in situations like that. Like, good lord.
Yeah, that the fact that you have a team like the Orioles that their payroll is $37 million, they're taking the same field as the New York Yankees. Yes, the Orioles are all Major League Baseball players, but it's almost like taking a AAA team out there and throwing them out there against the New York Yankees. It's like, what the fuck?
Basically.
And in our final piece of news,
this man just keeps popping up.
Nebraska and Scott Frost will have a different quarterback for the 2022 season.
First time under Scott Frost, I believe.
They will not have a quarterback with the last name Martinez, whether it be Taylor Martinez or his younger brother Adrian Martinez. Adrian Martinez has officially entered the NCAA transfer portal because it's free agency now, and I am all for it for the most part. Martinez was a 4-year starter at Nebraska, even though he's technically only a junior because of COVID. Threw for 8,500 yards.
Look at his stats, and it says freshman, sophomore, junior.
8,500 yards. The real number is 8,495. 45 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. He leads Nebraska in all-time total offense because he's been there forever, it feels like. Only 4 years.
That was his brother, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, his brother was there for 5.
Jesus.
And thank Ohio State for that. I'm being dead serious. You can.
Oh, no.
He got a medical red shirt because, like, the second game of the season, he destroyed everything in his entire body, essentially.
Oh, nice.
Had to spend, 3 nights in Columbus Hospital.
Jesus. Yeah, this kind of came out of left field. I did not expect Martinez to be transferring or anything. I mean,
he's gonna go somewhere and he's gonna start.
Yeah, I don't know where. I mean, he's gonna go somewhere and he will start. I just don't know where.
Yes.
Like, I would highly doubt it would be a Big Ten team.
Unless it's Illinois. Or Rutgers. God, please, no.
You know?
No, I do not want... Neither of us want to see more Adrian Martinez than we've seen the past 4 years.
No. But from a Rutgers standpoint...
Oh, it'd be great. It would be great for them. Because Noah Verdal's not it. Let's say. You even had a cardboard cutout sign that said, "How is Adrian Martinez still a junior?" Neither of us want to see him ever again.
I feel like he's been there. I feel like he's been there more than 4 years.
Best of luck to him. Again, I hope he goes somewhere and does well. Just please not anywhere in the Big Ten East or West. Just not in the Big Ten, please. Or Notre Dame. Or anywhere Ohio State has to play next year. I just don't want to see Adrian Martinez. Nothing. I don't dislike the guy. I have nothing against him.
No, but playing Nebraska has just been a pain in the ass. Like, they don't win the games, but they're like in the game somehow, some way.
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
By the way, did you see? I believe that 9 of Nebraska's losses, which might be all of them,
they were 4-9 or 3-9. 4-9.
Been by 1 score. So maybe 8 of 9, because what did Ohio State beat it by?
9, so that's 2 scores.
Okay, so it must be 8 of 9 then. Because they're insane. Like, they do just enough. They do just enough to have it be a 1-score game and then lose.
We'll talk about Nebraska here in a few minutes because they played Iowa. Because
they're in there. They're in there. I see them.
Yeah, I put them in there a few minutes ago while you were talking about Brian Kelly.
Okay. All right, I was like, damn.
I feel like we missed someone else too. Who was ranked number 9 this week? This past week.
I will do a little bit of research before we get into that.
I have it up already. Maybe.
Why is Matt on week 9? Week 12. Number 9.
Week 13. We'd be in week 13.
Week 13. Number 9 was Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, they played on like a Friday or something. This week's games were dumb. You missed
Ole Miss.
You missed Arkansas in there too.
Ole Miss played Mississippi State 31-20.
And Brady Hoke's team. The Fighting Brady Hokes, he missed them too.
NCAA.com has to get their shit together, damn it.
They probably had him goofy because of games happening on Thursday, Friday. This week because of Thanksgiving. So we're into the college football recap unless you have anything else to say about Adrian Martinez.
I just hope he can't hurt me anymore.
Fair. Let's go into the college football recap. Number 1, Georgia beat Georgia Tech 45-0. We all saw this coming. We'll skip Ohio State and Michigan. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay, hold on. Georgia Tech forced Georgia to punt. That's a win. That's a win for Georgia Tech.
Fair enough.
They stink. Go ahead.
Do we want to talk? Do we just want to get Ohio State, Michigan out of the way now, or do we want to wait a few minutes and we'll do the scores first?
We'll just run through the scores. We'll get to that eventually.
Number 3, we'll save Ohio State, Michigan for last. Number 3, Alabama beat Auburn 24-22 in triple overtime.
Overtime.
This game was ass. Alabama's ass. They're going to lose to Georgia a lot, to not even close to enough.
So Auburn really had me worried that this was not going to be a game, and then all of a sudden they should have won that game, and they
several times over. Yeah.
And then, I don't know what Auburn's doing, not going for 2 on that first overtime because it literally does not matter. Go for the win. Just get it done. Go.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Come on.
I didn't hate it just because the odds are not in your favor. I didn't hate kicking it because the odds aren't in your favor either way.
Your favorite at that point anyway.
So, but yeah, I agree. Number 4, Cincinnati. They covered against East Carolina. It took a lot of work, but they did beat East Carolina 35-13.
This is somehow a playoff team beating East Carolina 35-13.
East Carolina was only down 1 score, and then interception return for a touchdown, fumble return for a touchdown, interception that led to a touchdown.
Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State blows them out. 35-13. It's still a blowout, I guess. Right on the precipice of blowout, but oh god.
Literally anybody in the top 10 blows out East Carolina. Cincinnati finds ways to not blow teams out.
And it's not like it's because they play good defense either. Like allowing 13 points to East Carolina is not a good thing.
Number 6, Notre Dame in what was Brian Kelly's final game. Notre Dame beat Stanford 45-14. The Stanford Cardinal, they're not good.
Numbers made no sense all year. Who did they beat this year? Were they the ones that beat Oregon?
Yep.
What the fuck? Move on, please.
I have no words. Number 7, Oklahoma State. This was a game that I did not watch, but apparently there was a lot of stupidity and shenanigans and poor officiating because every Oklahoma fan everywhere is blaming the refs for this loss. Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma 37-30.
Right.
Huh.
The higher-ranked team won, and you're blaming the refs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Moving on. Number 8, Baylor beat Texas Tech 27-24.
I wish I had a camera on right now because I'm just whoopee, yay.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, Big 12.
Number 9, Ole Miss beat Mississippi State 31-21 on Thanksgiving night. Yay.
I mean, president of the Matt Corral fan club over here, but yeah, nobody cared.
Number 11, Oregon beat Oregon State 38-29.
That Oregon defense is absolute dog shit.
Yes. And a game that was awful to watch. Number 12, Michigan State beat Penn State 30-27.
I'm honestly, in a way, happy that instead of watching the rest of that absolute gong show disguised as a college football game, that my little family gathering, delayed Thanksgiving on Saturday, I'm almost glad that some weird animated movie got put up on the TV other than that game.
That game was bad. I watched that full game.
I
honestly,
about a half. I saw a lot of snow.
Did you the second half? You watched the first half, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
The second half was worse.
God.
The Cowboys are currently covering. Thank you, God.
The only thing that anybody had to say, at my grandma's house about that game was just, wow, there's a lot of snow in East Lansing.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. I mean, to be fair, I think I might have been the only football fan left. My uncle, who I watched the Michigan game with, he had bounced out of there by then, presumptively to go celebrate something.
not watch Michigan State play in a half a foot of snow. Number 13, BYU beat USC 35-31. USC sucks, but they have Lincoln Riley now. Well, they will starting next year. In a game, nobody.
Something notable about Lincoln Riley to LSU or
USC
rather. He's bringing a lot of big recruits with him. They're
yes, he is.
Flipping their commitment over from OU to USC. It's getting wild. You talked about Oklahoma being in purgatory in 3 years. I think they're there.
Minnesota, unranked Minnesota beat number 14 Wisconsin 23-14.
Wisconsin needed to win this game. That is all they needed to set up the rematch with Michigan for the Big Ten Championship this Saturday.
They didn't win.
What do? They go out and lose to the boat. PJ Fleck. I was secretly kind of rooting for Minnesota here. Just because, I mean, me and you were both under the same belief that it is hard to beat the same team twice.
Very.
Even though I have my own opinions on Iowa, but we'll get to those in the picks. Yeah. Good for PJ Fleck. Good for Minnesota. Good for the Golden Gophers. Even though it meant nothing.
It would have meant something if Nebraska would have beat Iowa. We'll talk about them in a second. LSU beat number 15 Texas A&M in Ed Orgeron's last home game at LSU, 27-24.
Oh, Tigers.
I've alluded to this a little bit. Number 16 Iowa beat Nebraska 28-21. Iowa had to come from 15 down in the fourth quarter.
They sure did.
But they did it in the first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, fourth quarters are not the friend of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I will say that with 100% certainty. Because it does not matter what has gone on in the first 3 quarters of a football game with the Nebraska Cornhuskers involved. They will blow it, whether they're ahead, whether they're just behind. Everything will go wrong for Nebraska once the final 15 minutes has popped up on the clock. I don't know what it is, but Nebraska and fourth quarters are not friends.
So I'm going to just say this real quick. I was so close to admitting, you know what, maybe Nebraska is good. And then the first 5 minutes of that fourth quarter happened.
They are a good team for 3 quarters.
And I have a couple stats. I guess. But they're not a good team. There's a reason they're... I can't. After watching... Because I watched that whole game and they were dominating Iowa. And then they just quit. Here's some stats. In the 2021 Big Ten season, they're 1-8. Their one win comes against Northwestern. They have scored 239 points. They have allowed 239 points.
Yep.
Against the 8 Big Ten teams Nebraska lost to, they're minus 49 in point differential. So, in other words, they beat Northwestern by 49, so they're plus 49, which is how they're even in point differential. I just can't. I can't. I was so close to wanting to be like, yep, Nebraska's better than what I gave them credit for. And then this happened.
I still maintain that I liked Nebraska. Or I did. But yeah, they are.
And Nebraska was the favorite in this game too.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then they went out and perdured.
Yeah, we need to come up with a term specifically for Nebraska because it appears that trend isn't going away anytime soon. But
fuck. In a game literally nobody anywhere cares about unless you're a Wake Forest fan. Wake Forest beat.
What a great Week 13 game. Wake Forest and Boston College.
It's an ass conference game. Wake Forest won 40-10. In a game that happened, North Texas beat number 22 UTSA. UTSA undefeated no more. But they still beat the Illinois Fighting Illini and Brett Bielema. Fuck you, Brett Bielema.
I reiterate that sentiment.
45-23 North Texas. UTSA undefeated no more.
They lost their first game of the season in grand fashion.
Yeah, they did. Holy shit. Number 23 Clemson.
Texas.
Number 23 Clemson. Dabo Swinney somewhere is happy that Ohio State lost.
I'm sure he is.
Number 23 Clemson beat South Carolina 30-0. Who the fuck cares? And
I mean, that's not an ass conference game straight up, at least.
It's a half-ass conference game.
Uh-huh.
And number 24, Houston beat UConn 45-17. Now the game we missed, number 5, Michigan beat number 2, Ohio State 27. I can't read. Jordan, you want to talk about Michigan for a minute while I go take my dogs out and then be back without
right.
booze.
I have been waiting.
I will let you talk about Michigan first.
Hold on. Don't go anywhere just yet. I have been waiting through the entire history of this podcast to hear those words. Michigan beat Ohio State.
I would say this is the first time in podcast history that those words have been uttered.
Unless it's in basketball.
I would say in the world, in football at least.
All right, go
is
ahead.
Dallas still covering? Good, they are.
Oh, God.
At least they're covering the alternate spread I have on FanDuel. I'll be back. Talk about Michigan.
Right. I will do just that. Saturday was probably one of the best sports days I've experienced in a very long time, if not ever. It has been 10 long years. I was still in high school the last time Michigan beat Ohio State. Ohio State fans will discredit that win till the day they die. Because that was right after the Jim Tressel controversy and Luke Fickell was the head coach. It'll be discredited forever. But that was a really solid season for Michigan. So, that's just what they want to do. I was hopeful going into this game. I thought the matchup was good. High-powered offense against a very physical defense in Michigan. And I expected this game to be close, like I said. I didn't expect a 60-minute beatdown. Because that's what it was. Ohio State at one point led 10-7. What did Michigan do? Respond right away, down the field, touchdown. 14-7, or 14-10 rather. Field goal for Ohio State, going into halftime, 14-13. I don't know. I'm probably going to make no sense throughout this entire segment, just because this, to me, was just it. Michigan went and literally admitted to themselves that we've been pretending to be who we think that we are for the last 20 years. Like, Michigan went out and all Michigan fans in the past say, well, of course Ohio State beats us, every year. It's their Super Bowl. We went out and made that our Super Bowl. Michigan fans in years past, they got a clock in their locker room counting down to the game. Guess what? Now we do too. And there's other stuff that I want to wait until Austin's back for. But that was Michigan admitting that they have been a down program for the last number of years. And admitting that, looking themselves in the face, going out and doing the business. That was even when I knew at this point in the game, I think it was sometime early third quarter. And Austin sends me a message. He's like, this game's over. I'm like, look, I ain't saying shit until there's zeros on the clock. There ain't no way. And Ohio State had a drive in that third quarter that reminded me of the drive that flipped momentum into MSU's favor when we lost to MSU. It was a drive where Jackson Smith and Jigba had the phenomenal catch behind the back of a Michigan defender, DJ Turner. And you're like, oh no. And it was just miraculous play after miraculous play. Thank God it didn't need 15 reviews like it did in the MSU game to get them down there. But at that point, I'm like, oh no. Because I've seen this play out so many times. Won't even go back to Brady Hoke. I've seen this play out so many times under Harbaugh. Where you feel the momentum swinging in the opponent's favor, Ohio State or anybody else. And instead, I go back to what Cade McNamara said at the end of the Nebraska game, when Nebraska was giving us fits. He says previous Michigan teams don't win this game. And he's right. And they don't win that game in years past. They would have crumbled. But there is a new identity, and it has nothing to do with Jim Harbaugh's pants.
I was wondering if we were going to get a Jim Harbaugh pants reference.
Oh, you came back at a good time then.
I've been back for about a minute or so now.
So here's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay, so before we go anywhere, are you done with Michigan for a bit, kind of, partially?
A bit, kind of. I could rant about Saturday for fucking 5 hours. So
I know you can.
I'll limit myself for now.
First off, all I have to say about Ohio State.
This dude is the epitome of a disgrace.
That's Jordan. You can go back and listen to that soundbite yourself. It might not be the one you think it is.
Oh no,
it's not the loser one. If that's what you were thinking, even though that would fit.
No, I didn't think so.
Even though that one very much could have fit. That's all I have to say about Ohio State's performance right there. It was disgraceful. I could say a lot about the defense. Kerry Coombs has here on this podcast. He's had the lowest of lows. He went from being chump of the week after the Oregon loss, to mid-season, how he handled being removed from his defensive coordinating, or having to go from sole defensive coordinator to having to share defensive coordinator responsibilities, and being taken off the field and put up in the booth, and how he handled all of that. As a leader of young men, he became champ of the week. And, well, now it's early in the show, but he's going to be part of my chump of the week. I'll just say it right there. Him, Matt Barnes, and linebacker coach Al Washington, who we got from Michigan, are the only three people in the entire known universe, and parts of the universe that some might call unknown, that did not know Michigan was going to run the fucking football on Saturday.
And not just run the football. We don't really run outside. We have a couple things on film where we do, some reverses, some jet sweeps.
And you ran one of those. You ran one.
Run a jet sweep, and it scored a touchdown. Or not a jet sweep. That was more of a reverse.
You ran one. Only one. The entire game.
Wide receiver reverse. Touchdown. The first touchdown.
Yeah. The entire game. Ohio State's defense was lined up in a 4-2-5. Does Michigan even have 5 receivers on their roster?
Well, on their roster, yes, I'm sure they probably do, but not 5 that get any sort of meaningful playing time. Because really it is Andrell Anthony, Cornelius Johnson, Roman Wilson, and the two tight ends, Eric All and Luke Schoonmaker.
So that is 5.
I mean, it's 5, but they're tight ends.
Yeah.
But I don't.
And you don't do what Ohio State does and put your tight ends out in the slot. You leave them on the line of scrimmage.
No, because they're true tight ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eric All's a phenomenal blocker. Luke Schoonmaker's just a grinder.
Yeah.
So remind me again, because this has confused. Michigan won the toss, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because when I saw, so they didn't show the coin toss on Fox. So when I saw,
they very rarely do.
Yeah, I know. When I saw that Michigan had the ball to start the game, I was like, thinking, okay, I hope we won the toss. Because in what world, if Ohio State did win, would they defer with the offense they have?
Which makes it even worse. That you bring that up. Thank you. Because that means I don't have to actually say it. Or bring that necessarily up. You brought it up for me. Segued in for me perfectly. We do a good job co-hosting on this show.
I'm fairly certain it has nothing to do with the coin toss and Ohio State's offense.
No.
Oh.
Ryan Day, in his post-game press conference, said, I knew we weren't going to be able to stop them consistently. Meaning Michigan's offense.
Or maybe a lack of faith in his defense. I don't know.
Well, meaning they weren't going to be able to stop Michigan's offense a lot. Yes, he 100% a lack of faith in Ohio State's defense because, well, Michigan's offense is extremely bland.
It's bland but effective.
It's not like Ohio State's offense where if you say you're not going to be able to stop them a lot, there's a reason you're saying they're not going to be able to stop. Like, Ohio State's offense, for the most part, this season has been difficult to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know why they defer. That's just a thing they do.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. And Ryan Day's comment about it, just even more head scratching. All I have to say about Ryan Day, and really all I have to say about this in general, is other than it's disgraceful. A lot of serious soul searching has to be done by that program.
For sure.
This, I do not want to call this a game that flips the rivalry on its head, because
don't get me wrong, I'd love it if it was, but it doesn't feel that way.
Or flips the rivalry back, or not flips it on its head, I should say, resets the rivalry. Because if you remember back in 2011, Michigan beat Brady 10 years ago.
Different times, for sure.
It was, yes, Brady Hoke is a worse coach than Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's a fucking idiot at times, and he's a goofball all the time.
Yes, but at the same time, I feel like we have seen a much different Jim Harbaugh. Not all season, because there are points in the season where he's been his old self. But especially in the late season, in the month of November, when it mattered.
That I will say I agree with, yes.
Really haven't and here's the point I want to make. Michigan does not win last Saturday if they do not lose to Michigan State. Not a chance. Because Ohio State does that same hurry-up offense that MSU did and exploited us all day. They do that same stuff. And they had that experience.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
They had the experience
I see it. I buy it.
Adversity of the momentum potentially changing. Ohio State tried 2 separate times. The touchdown to take a 10-7 lead, and then Michigan scored on the ensuing drive. And then the third quarter, and I mentioned this while you were gone, on the drive that had the Jackson Smith and Jigba behind the back catch of DJ Turner.
Yes.
And just wild plays left and right that shouldn't work but worked. That reminded me so much of the drive that MSU had, where they had 3 unbelievable catches, all of which had to go to review. That was the real Tide Turner in that game. Like, me watching it, I'm like, we're in some danger here. And then you guys score.
Disclaimer, I did not think Ohio State after Ohio State's first offensive drive, I thought that I kind of was just able to tell that game was not going to be trending in the right way for Ohio State. The energy there by that Ohio State team was non-existent.
And I mean, on the contrary as well, I mean, that Michigan team was just business.
They wanted to be there.
They were.
One team wanted to be there. And I tweeted it on Saturday, and I also am going to throw this out there. I said on this show last week that if Michigan, and I even said it on Backdoor Cover on Friday, if Michigan was going to do it, this was going to be the year. Because, or at least let me rephrase it, if Michigan was going to do it within the next couple of years, this was going to be the year, because it's a home game for Michigan, a young, inexperienced team for Ohio State, and next year, it's hard to say what happens because this is a tough game to win on the fucking road.
It should be. And that's where this rivalry, honestly, is at its best, is when basically it's home field advantage. It's winning the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like,
go ahead. I'll let you.
And I've heard so many college football analysts and people that were at that game say that was the wildest atmosphere they've ever been in, which is so un-Big House.
I can buy that.
I know I'm a Michigan fan. I shouldn't say the Big House home atmosphere sucks. It really usually does.
It's, from everything I've heard from a lot of people, the soccer game I was at a couple of years ago, and I was sitting next to a couple of Michigan students at the time, kids who were students at Michigan at the time. And they even said that at that Real Madrid-Manchester United game, the atmosphere was better and was louder than any Michigan football game they had ever been to.
So I have been to 3 Michigan games in my lifetime. None that really meant anything, but that is sort of kind of the problem. Like, that's the crowd usually does not bring it for just anything. It has to be something like that, and even still, I mean, you got the snow, you got the crowd, you had a failed maze-out attempt, but, you know...
Oh, so yeah, that maze-out did not actually really work.
Well, I don't know, I really don't know how well they promoted it. I saw one video of Aiden Hutchinson saying, "Be loud, wear maze," and that was about it. So, I will say... It also, I will say, it does not help. It really makes doing anything like that difficult when somehow Ohio State fans get tickets to just about literally anywhere in that field that they want. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was literally my next point, is fuck the Michigan season ticket holders that are putting their tickets up for sale and selling them to Ohio State fans.
Yeah, that's a dick move. That's a dick move.
Thank you. Thank you. There was way too much red in that stadium.
Like,
I did see some people, some Ohio State fans complaining about where the band wound up. Is your band wound up at like the top part of the bowl?
That's.
But I mean, where else do they want them to be?
That's odd, but okay, whatever. I mean, where else are you gonna put them?
Right, like you want to give them like fucking front row sideline seats, or what?
Like, yeah, where else are you gonna put them? I mean,
it's not like it's the upper deck. It's Michigan Stadium.
Yeah,
so it really doesn't matter.
Like, that is an odd place, but yeah. Especially because the road team in this rivalry, this rivalry is kind of unique, where the road team does let the band take the field.
They were on the field. They did take the field on Saturday.
Yep. So I do find that a little odd that that's where they're putting the band. just because I feel like it would be easier to have them closer to the field to get them on the field easier. But
well, to be fair,
at the same time, go ahead.
At Michigan Stadium, being in the top part of the bowl, literally last row, is closer to the tunnels to get to the outside of the stadium than the bottom is.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Because when that stadium was built, the tunnels were basically like ground level, and the stadium hardly went above the ground. Like, it's just a big old fucking hole.
Yeah.
So the tunnels are actually way closer to the top. That stadium field level is probably like 80, 100 feet down on the ground.
Yeah. Moving on. CJ Stroud threw for 400 yards on 50 attempts. Whoopty fucking shit. I mean, 2 touchdowns. He 70% completion percentage. I mean,
your guys' wide receivers balled out as hard as they fucking could. Like, Stroud was definitely not perfect. He wasn't awful, but he wasn't perfect. But his receivers, man, were making plays that the game could have been even worse if it wasn't for them. I mean, you guys got 3 legitimate wide receivers out there. Like,
oh yeah, and the thing is realistically, it doesn't look like they're going to get much worse after Wilson and Olave leave.
They probably won't.
That's the thing. Brian Hartline is a elite receivers coach because he knows what it takes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Which is scary, but
you look at Brian Hartline's tenure since Urban brought him in to be the receivers coach. Look at who they're putting in the NFL at receiver. Mm-hmm. They're putting guys in the NFL that if they could stay healthy, have careers in the NFL.
Yeah, there's all the conversation all the time about Ohio State doesn't put any, long-lasting quarterbacks in the NFL. They put a fuck ton of receivers in the league, though.
And I mean, that's been Ohio State for the past, since Jim Tressel.
Right.
So for the past 20 years. CJ Stroud, threw for 50 times, 400 yards. Bleh. Run the goddamn ball. Something needs to happen. Travion Henderson is an elite running back.
It's funny you say run the ball because I saw plenty of Ohio State fans wanting them to throw it more.
The only reason they want the ball thrown is Michigan's corners are solid, but they're not phenomenal.
No, none of them are really elite, no.
Michigan's corners, the best thing about them and what they have going for them, especially on a day like on Saturday where it was just cold and snowy, Michigan's corners are physical. They do get their hands on you a lot. You could say whatever you want. The Big Ten doesn't call pass interference. I want to go out and say this right now. The officials sucked. The officials were awful.
They weren't good.
They were Big Ten, though. They weren't the reason Ohio State lost. At some point, the officials, I want to say that now, the officials were not why Ohio State lost. At some point, especially in that second half, your defense has to sack up and make a fucking play. Somebody has to make a goddamn play.
When it comes to the officials, for me, the way I look at it, especially when I watched it live and watched it back the next day, I really thought the same thing. It's like any Ohio State fans that want to complain about the officials, you should probably be glad that they didn't really call holding, because Aiden Hutchinson was a problem. David Ajabo was a problem. I mean, Ajabo got tackled twice.
The thing is if you're going to call holding, you got to call it both ways.
Yeah. There was one holding call that I didn't like, and that was the one, I believe in the third quarter, that even Joel Klatt was like, man, it's one of the softer calls of the day. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either. But on the other ones, I think there were 2 others.
I do one other because there was only 2 holding calls the entire day.
Jesus.
One was C.J. Stroud's touchdown, which I didn't like.
That was the weak one.
Yep, because David Ojabo, who I think is going to be good in the NFL, because he is a true defensive end. Aiden Hutchinson is solid, but he's gonna. I think he's got to move back to linebacker. He's not big.
I mean, move to linebacker, put on weight. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those 2. Dave, on a day like what it was on Saturday, where it's snowy, kind of rainy, that turf gets slick. So David Ojabo, as he was trying to get to the corner, had already started to slip, and he just kind of got pushed down.
Yeah.
He got aided down to the ground. It was kind of just a one-arm push by the right tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere. I think like
the reason he got that call is just because he had been the guy that really had the worst day on the offensive line.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that was more of a benefit of the doubt kind of call, just because of what had been going on. And I think at some point the officials are like, I mean, we got these yellow flags for a reason. Might as well throw them.
I will say the Big Ten needs to really reevaluate their officiating, because, and you and I have talked about it all year, it's just bad.
All damn year.
I call
even in games we don't even care about. It's just like just fix your stuff. Like, if something's a penalty, just call it.
And I go back to the Michigan-Nebraska game on the officials, where you're watching that, where both of us were watching that Michigan-Nebraska drive, and both of us tweeted something similar. We're like, just end this fucking drive. Like, we tweeted it like at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Let this drive be over.
I tweeted.
I remember saying I don't care if Michigan. Was it Michigan that had the ball?
Yes.
So I think that sounds right, because I was like, I don't even care if Michigan scores here. Just let this drive be over, because this is nightmare fuel. Like, this sucks.
My tweet about it got me on Stupid People Say Stupid Things the following week, where I tweeted, "Hey, hey officials, nobody tunes into games to watch you," and then that game just got worse. And then the Big Ten officiating just got worse too. Like, the Big Ten does what I call laissez-faire officiating, where they don't interfere until they absolutely have to.
I mean, it's the same. It's their MO across. I mean, any sport that I watch, football and basketball. Basketball's the same way.
Yeah, and
that's why Big Ten teams struggle come tournament time. It's because it's a different style of basketball.
And I don't like it, because, especially in games like this, because the officials have artificial control of the game.
Yep, basically.
And I will say there was only 2 pass interferences called the entire game.
Sounds about right.
I'm trying.
Didn't hear from the refs a ton.
Unless it was an Ohio State false start, which you gotta call You gotta call false starts.
Woo!
You do have to call false starts. I will say that.
I don't remember if it was the final total or not, but at one point they put up on the scoreboard, it said Big House Effect, Ohio State false starts, and they had 5.
They finished with 6, I believe.
Because
they had 4 other penalties.
Jesus.
2 holds, 1 DPI, 1 unsportsmanlike. Which I'll talk about the unsportsmanlike in a second. The 2 DPIs called in the entire game, there should have been more, but the Big Ten doesn't call DPI. The DPI called on Ohio State on a drive that Michigan was going to score on regardless, in my opinion. I don't like Cade McNamara underthrew that ball. Yes, when the receiver was getting taken to the ground in the process, yes, you do got to call it. But And you and I were tweeting about this, where like you can't reward an underthrown ball.
So I was tweeting while I was rewatching the game, and
I did see that. I was just so exhausted and tired, and possibly still half drunk Saturday or Sunday morning, or so hungover that I didn't know what county I was in.
Good Lord. For specifically, I'll start with the call that Ohio State fans wanted on the, they wanted DPI on DJ Turner on Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay, so I will say this real quick. By rule, yes, that's kind of DPI. Because you are, by the strictest definition of the rule, that's DPI. It is irrelevant either way. I agree. I do agree. You can't reward a bad thrown ball.
Yeah, and so for that one, and this is the point I want to make with that, is that, and I'm not defending the call or the non-call or anything, but I'm just pointing this out, is that so when that ball is thrown by C.J. Stroud in the direction of Jackson Smith and Jigba,
it was not a great throw.
Turner, it was not a great throw. And in fact, it was more towards the sideline, to the point that DJ Turner, if he turned around, would have had inside positioning on it.
Yes. That is my biggest thing with that, is
that ball,
go ahead.
The throw is way worse on that than it is on the McNamara throw, because the receiver from Michigan can still get that inside positioning and just gets tackled.
But I mean, the biggest thing is DJ Turner did not try and play the ball. Yeah, Ohio State, I can't remember. I think it may have been Denzel Burke that was called for Ohio State's DPI there. He didn't try and play the ball either, but whatever Michigan receiver wasn't trying to turn around, so there was no impeding in the progress.
I don't remember the receiver's name, but I feel like it might have been Roman Wilson.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take your word for it, because I don't either.
I think it was Roman Wilson.
Like, could he have turned around and tried to get that? Yes, and then you definitely got to throw it. 100% have to throw it. I think Roman Wilson, because Roman Wilson, before he was starting to get drugged down, was still trying to run into the end zone.
Yep.
And Cade McNamara just kind of underthrew it, and it was just a really dumb penalty by Denzel Burke. I can't defend it. Like, it was stupid.
You just want to call it consistently.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just, the Big Ten doesn't do that. And why I hate that even worse is why that call looks even worse to me, even as a neutral fan. The very next Ohio State offensive drive, Michigan got called for the weakest pass interference I've seen the Big Ten call ever.
Yeah, that was a thing.
And you and I were talking about this. That was 100% a makeup call.
It had to have been.
Because
that's not a Big Ten call.
Not only is it not a Big Ten call, like, Garrett Wilson was catching the ball as he was being drugged down.
Right.
Like, Garrett Wilson he was getting tackled after he had possession of the ball, essentially. He was getting possession of the ball and then getting drugged down. Like, that was 100% a makeup call, in my opinion. Because it was so weak.
For Big Ten standards, yes.
Now I will say the play on Jackson Smith and Jigba, that defender in any other conference would have gotten called by for DPI.
But thankfully for you guys, your dude Jackson Smith and Jigba is incredible and made the catch anyway, and that penalty would have been declined anyway.
Yeah, irrelevant.
Because that was what I believe that was on 3rd and 19.
Yeah, and it was a 30-yard pass.
25, 30-yard gain, so it declined anyway.
I will say, the holding penalty Ohio State got called for irrelevant. One of them, the other one I can't really remember. No, I'm talking the CJ Stroud, the one on CJ Stroud's touchdown. They scored on the next play.
Yeah, irrelevant.
The other one, I mean, it was still irrelevant because Ohio State was down 2 scores.
Right.
The DPI that was called on Ohio State, I think, was irrelevant just because I'm convinced Michigan was going to score anyway.
That was in the second half, right?
Yes.
I mean, you didn't force a punt.
Yeah.
In the second half.
The DPI helped because that DPI was on 3rd down. No, actually, that DPI was on 2nd down, I think.
Yeah, 2nd down sounds right.
That DPI was like on 2nd and 7. I think Michigan would have gotten a 1st down and they would have been able to go down and score.
I mean, you guys really, and especially in that second half. I mean, it's a Michigan offense that I've dreamed about all season long. Let alone against Ohio State, is just doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't even happen against MSU, and that defense is even worse.
Yeah. Michigan State's defense is bad.
Ugh.
The one call I will forever, ever be upset about in this game.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah, because you and I talked about this.
Yes.
The unsportsmanlike conduct on Cameron Brown that happened after a play, and I'm going to sit here and say this as a player who has had his helmet ripped off of his head before. I can't defend what Cameron Brown did. What he did is just fucking...
I'll say it for you, so you don't even have to run the risk of sounding unbiased to somebody. That, to me, I said, as I'm watching the game, I said to my uncle, I'm like, I really hope no flags come from this at all, because at the very worst case scenario, they're offsetting, nothing happens. But in the worst case scenario, like, basically what happened to you guys happened.
Yeah.
Like, only one of it got called, and I get it. Like, that's, I guess, probably the most consistent thing that the Big Ten does is always penalize the second guy. But at the same time, like, Roman Wilson's making a dirty play. He's grabbing
Cameron Brown's ankles. Yeah, he has Cameron Brown in a UFC style leg lock, dragging him to the ground. I can't defend what Cameron Brown did, because what you're doing there, ripping someone's helmet off, is already dangerous enough, and then Cameron Brown threw it 20 yards downfield.
I say 20 yards downfield, over 5 yards deep in the end zone.
That helmet ended up on like the 15, 16 yard line.
Around the 15, yep.
Like,
helmets aren't exactly light.
And they're not meant to fly through the air.
This is not good.
Trust me, I've tried.
Good Lord.
I've seen it. I've hit people to a point where their helmet has come off and they don't fly. Usually, a helmet comes off of someone during a play, it just kind of falls to the ground.
Unless it's Jadeveon Clowney on Vincent Smith.
Jadeveon Clowney is a freak of nature. But no, that play.
Wrap up your thoughts about this. I'll be right back in a second.
That shouldn't have happened. If the refs were just there being officials like they're supposed to, that doesn't happen. Roman Wilson doesn't throw Cameron Brown in a leg lock. Cameron Brown, which then leads to Cameron Brown not ripping Roman Wilson's helmet off. Like, if the officials actually are doing their job and not just trying to wait for something to happen and preventing things from happening, that doesn't happen. And in games like this, it is a very bad thing and a very bad sign when the players are the one having to break up entanglements and not the officials. What the hell? Wow. That is a problem. And that's really all I got. Oh, hey, perfect timing.
Right?
I just kind of finished up. Like I said, in games like this, players should not be the ones having to break up any form of engagements, post-play engagements, when... And the thing is, like, Ohio State's players went and pulled Cameron Brown off. Michigan's players went and pulled Roman Wilson off, and they got in between them. That shouldn't be happening when the officials are there.
The Michigan offensive line, fucking 3 of them are up against Cameron Brown, and Cameron Brown's backing away, and they didn't even touch him.
I mean, good on those guys for going and defending their boy.
Right? Well, yeah, I love that.
I would be extremely worried if I was a Michigan fan and they weren't going and standing up for their boy.
Oh hell yeah!
But
I love to see it. I've loved our offensive line all season long.
Their offensive line is legit. It's good. But no, good on them for going and standing up for their boy.
In the trenches, man. It's a wild experience for Michigan. Last thing that I want to say about this. And I think you missed this part, but I wanted to kind of unravel on it a little bit with you.
Okay.
And that is that Michigan in this game, in this 3 hours and 50-some minutes of this game.
Oh, can I real quick? I love Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson, Joe Klatt, Jenny Taft. Yeah. All 3 of them do a phenomenal job. The All-American girl, Jenny Taft, all 3 of them, phenomenal job. Love them. The best crew in college football.
Without doubt.
This game needs to be taken off Fox.
I was begging for replays the whole game. Instead, I got
commercials.
Literally half the damn time was commercials.
I'm honestly convinced we saw more commercials than we saw football.
Yes, oh God.
Michigan called a timeout on their very first drive. There was 13 minutes left on the clock in the first quarter.
Yep. Yeah, a little miscommunication going on there.
And we had a full media timeout.
Yes, we did.
2 minutes into the first quarter. Not even a full 2 minutes. It was like 1 minute and 40 seconds. There was 13:20 on the game clock remaining in the first quarter. Michigan calls a timeout. Full media timeout right off the bat.
It just reminds me of the MSU game where Mel Tucker iced our kicker 3 times and Fox got 2 commercial breaks out of that.
Like, again, not Gus Johnson's fault, not Joe Klatt's fault, not Jane Taft's fault. They are phenomenal. All 3 of them, best in the business.
No doubt.
Best crew in the business right now. But we need that game off of Fox. I didn't think I would ever clamor for this game to be back on ESPN.
I don't want it on ESPN either.
CBS Facebook Live?
No. God, no. Yeah, Fox is bad.
Like, I mean, there is nowhere else for it to go. ESPN's the only other place it can go, realistically, because it's not going to go to CBS Sports.
Yeah, CBS. Final in Cowboys Saints 27-17, by the way.
Cowboys 27? Oh, yeah, they had 20.
Yes,
Duh.
Yes, sir.
Good. I won money. Thank you, Pat McAfee Super Boost.
Oh, God. I forgot his Super Boosts are still a thing. Are they still hot?
It hit today. I don't think it hit over the weekend.
I mean, you'll have
because I think his Super Boost was on Thanksgiving and not on Sunday, and the Saints not showing up kind of fucked his Super Boost, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Michigan. The point I'm trying to make. Michigan on Saturday was everything they've pretended to be for the last 20 years. And they went into this year with just a completely different mindset when it came to this game. You know, in years past, Michigan fans be like, "Oh, you guys, this is your game. This is your team's Super Bowl. You guys got a countdown clock in your locker room counting down to the game." Okay, guess what? Now we do too. We got drills in practice. Or rather, Ohio State's got drills in practice dedicated to beating Michigan, named for beating Michigan. Guess what? We do too now. And they took everything. They had their little brother. They had their little brother comment for this game. We're going to hang 100 on them.
Yeah.
They had every single bit of ammunition they could have to motivate themselves was thrown in their face.
Yeah.
And thank God they took it and did something with it. I mean, we might as well enjoy it now because we don't get to use that next year. I don't think Ryan Day's saying it again.
So I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. I kind of started to say it earlier.
We do need to move on, but this is the biggest game for our show. It really is.
Yeah. Just gonna wrap this up real quick. Is this game gonna reset the rivalry? I don't know.
Ohio State's proven themselves. They're a perennial threat every single year. Michigan has to get to that point. This could be a turning point, or it could not be.
Yeah, I don't know. 10 years ago in 2011, people thought it was going to reset the rivalry. Because yes, Ohio State was a bad team. That was Ohio State's worst year.
I certainly didn't think that.
Well, a lot of people did. The talking heads on ESPN everywhere thought that was going to reset the rivalry.
Because that was Brady Hoke's first year, and that was a phenomenal year for Michigan. We won the Sugar Bowl that year.
Yep.
And then things went continuously downhill and downhill and downhill. And then Harbaugh got there, and then it got better for a little bit. Still couldn't beat Ohio State, and then it got worse and worse and worse.
So yeah, do I believe it's going to reset the rivalry? I honestly don't know. I don't want to say no. But
it's just gotta. That's on Michigan, really. Because I don't think Ohio State's going anywhere. What anyone wants to say about Ryan Day, I don't think Ohio State's just gonna fall into obscurity now.
I think a lot of players and a lot of staff have a lot of pride in what they do in that game. So I think, and God, I hope that a lot of soul searching is done, and Michigan fans could say whatever they want about this being Ohio State's Super Bowl. You know what? You're damn fucking right it is.
It's ours now, too. And that's the way it should be.
Ohio State, John Cooper beat Michigan once. He won the Rose Bowl. 2 days later, after winning the Rose Bowl, he got fired. Well, that's not entirely true, but...
I heard Rich Eisen say that John Cooper is his favorite football coach of all time.
Yeah.
Rich Eisen, noted Michigan alum.
Yeah. John Cooper actually, right after Cooper got fired, or before Cooper got fired, he did not win the Rose Bowl. But 2 years after he won the Rose Bowl, and he was gone. Had an 11-1 year. That one loss was to Michigan. Nobody fucking talks about it.
Nope.
No one fucking cares that we won the Rose Bowl that year. Lost to Michigan. That's what this game means to Ohio State. If that's what it means to Michigan now too, good. Again, I don't know if it's going to necessarily reset the rivalry because it all rests on Michigan, in my opinion.
It really does. I have a perfect meme for this, and it actually has nothing to do with Ohio State fans or Michigan fans, but more so MSU fans that I just sent to you on Facebook. But
oh God, I gotta see this. We're stopping mid-show for this.
MSU fans are fucking wild right now.
Yeah, they are. They are. Like,
did you see it yet?
Yeah, I just saw it. That's glorious. And I even told a Michigan State fan, I was like, yeah. Because I had a Michigan State fan. Well, at least we beat Michigan. I was like,
okay, and then what'd you do?
It's like, then you lost to Purdue.
I got mollywopped by Ohio State.
I was like, okay, sure, good. We're both Michigan State and Ohio State. We're both sitting at home this weekend.
Unbelievably,
we're not.
Cannot believe it. Does Michigan know how to get to Indianapolis?
Fuck. Let's move to the NFL.
Really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
MSU Spartans fans were making that joke.
They've been there once. No, twice. I'm sorry, twice. Twice?
That really is.
No, I'm sorry, 3 times. They've been there 3 times. The last was in 2015 when it was still the Leaders and Legends.
Oh, God. Oh, so, when the divisions got ridiculously unbalanced and you put Michigan Ohio State, Michigan State, and Penn State in the same division?
That was in 2016, if I remember correctly, when we got Rutgers, or maybe it was in 2015 when the first year of East-West.
Maybe, I don't
know.
Don't know. Don't care.
Yeah.
Glad. Is it weird to say I'm glad
Oops.
that the Spartans are at home this weekend more so than I am glad Ohio State's at home? Because that fan base deserves it.
Honestly, I don't disagree. I do think the most toxic fan base in all of sports right now is Oklahoma, but
we could rant about this game all day.
I honestly really can't. I've said all I can say.
I could, but I won't. Let's move to the NFL.
Yeah, I've said all I can say about it. I gotta get my notes open. Here we go, because I accidentally closed those.
Nothing matters. I mean, I won't say nothing matters if we don't beat Iowa this weekend, but it certainly would suck.
Nothing matters for Ohio State the rest of this year. Ohio State could find a way to make it into the national title if a shit ton of chaos happens and no one would care.
I mean, you guys might get the greatest consolation prize of all time in the Rose Bowl.
No, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Maybe.
NFL recap. We need to do this.
I don't have much to say about the Lions, but I have a bit to say, and I'm glad they're the first game because then we could pretty much speed run the rest of this.
Yeah. The Chicago Bears, led by Andy Dalton, beat the Lions 16-14. This game sucked.
This was my lead up. I felt the lowest of lows heading into Michigan, Ohio State.
I bet.
The Lions found another way to lose.
Yes, they did. I'm gonna say one thing. Can I say one thing real quick?
Go ahead, and then I'll say my piece.
First off, I had a single game parlay that involved DeAndre Swift to score a touchdown. That was dead in the first quarter.
Yeah, because he died.
I hope DeAndre Swift is healthy and good and is able to play this weekend.
This weekend we'll see.
Not because I'm a Lions fan or anything. I hope he is able to play. Shoulder injury, those are no joke at times. I cannot believe I spent a chunk of my Thanksgiving watching this game, or actually pretty much all of my Thanksgiving, my early Thanksgiving watching this game.
Welcome to Lion fan hell.
No, I have no issue with. I have zero issue with the Lions playing on Thanksgiving, but I cannot believe I put myself through. This is the first Thanksgiving, maybe correlation. First Thanksgiving I've watched the Lions in 10 years. Ohio State loses to Michigan. Correlation? Probably not.
I do not watch the Lions on Thanksgiving. I watch every football game I can. I watch the Cowboys.
Usually I'm doing other stuff.
I watch the crap Sunday night game.
Usually I am doing other stuff.
Fair. Okay.
So I'll usually miss 2/3 of the early game most of the time.
So first off, I am very disappointed that the Lions did not wear their throwback uniforms for this game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were disappointed they lost to Andy Dalton.
I'll get to that. No, those throwback uniforms are awesome. They're simple. They're great. No logos on the helmets. Just great. Honestly, the throwback jersey, I wish that was their primary. Just wear those on Thanksgiving for me, please. They didn't. Regular old home and aways. Maybe we're phasing out the throwbacks again because we haven't worn them all year, and that's the one time a year we usually wear them. So, I don't know. To the actual game. The Bears stink. The Bears really stink. And the Lions had the Bears. We had them. That game should have been over. We had the Bears at a 3rd and 9. Not the easiest thing to convert. And then what? Lions call timeout. 3rd and 9. Okay, cool. Hey, everything's fine.
Get your play in.
where hey, we saw the look. Let's just take care of business. 3rd down and 9. Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator for the Detroit Football Lions. Sees something he doesn't like. Might have been too many men on the field. I don't know. Calls another timeout. Is frantically trying to call another timeout. Screaming at the referee. Dan Campbell, obviously seeing his coordinator freaking the hell out trying to call timeout, says, hey, timeout for me too. Let's go. I do not put that situation on Dan Campbell. That's on Aaron Glenn. 100%.
What's the defensive stuff?
No, the timeout.
Oh, the timeout. Okay. The second one. Yeah.
Because that's Aaron Glenn called it first, and Campbell looks over. He sees his defensive coordinator frantically trying to call a timeout. Doesn't realize the officials don't realize he's trying to call a timeout, and I mean Campbell does probably what a lot of coaches would have done in that situation, and calls another timeout.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know who the referee noticed. I don't care. Dan Campbell's not calling that timeout if it ain't for Aaron Glenn throwing a fit in the sideline asking for a timeout.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell was still putrid in this game, though. He took over play calling duties. He ain't any better than Anthony Lynn. He might be worse. I don't know. They find another way to lose. And yes, they're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah, they just need 45 other things to happen.
Including them winning 45.
Out. We have to win out and hope every other playoff bubble team loses to make the playoffs. I don't want to make the playoffs. We lose out. I don't care at this point. We'll find a way to win a game. Some team is going to have just the worst week, and we're going to find a way. And we've had 3 games like that. And one was against the Vikings, who we played this week.
The Detroit Lions. Go ahead.
It was just last second field goals, late fourth quarter nonsense. The Lions are an absolute trip.
The Detroit Lions, to me, are almost like what I have said about the Nebraska Cornhuskers, except no one has ever said the Lions are good this year. I've said,
hey, good teams win, great teams cover. The Lions cover. 74 against the spread.
Yeah, they are. Except this week, because weren't they favored this week?
Nope.
Oh.
3.5-point dogs.
Oh, hey, well, they covered. The Lions, in a way, are kind of like remind me of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska, some of Nebraska's best games this year, they got when they were playing their opponents, or their opponent was playing their worst game of football. Up to that point in the season, at least. The Lions are kind of the same way. I mean, the Ravens just haven't been impressive at all this year since that win against Kansas City. But other than that,
remember when they were your best team in the AFC?
And now they're not good. Yeah. But yeah, the Lions, I don't know what the Lions. Let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders. They beat Dallas 36-33 in overtime at Jerry's World.
Perfect.
No one
seen Dallas lose.
Yeah, no one cares.
I mean, the Raiders aren't really the best team that I would like to see beat Dallas, but hey,
yeah.
I'll take it.
In the not good Sunday night game, Buffalo beat New Orleans 31-6. Yeah.
Let me tune up my best hand fart for this one. I don't know if that came through on Discord or not, but
it did not.
Hand fart was. I didn't see my I didn't see my thing turn green, so I was like, that didn't go through, did it? It was phenomenal. I'll just say that.
I'm just gonna say fart noises for this game. It was ass. Mm-hmm. I actually turned this game off early.
I didn't. I don't think I made it through the first quarter.
I did not either. Moving on to Sunday's games. Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh 41-10.
Pittsburgh is really bad.
Pittsburgh, yeah. I have very few things to say about this game. One of those is that the Bengals finally ran the fucking ball.
Hey!
Huzzah. Joe Mixon ran for 165, 2 touchdowns, 28 carries. Joe Burrow only threw the ball 24 times, I'm sorry.
There we go. We got a formula now. Just keep doing it.
We looked like a real football team. Bengals cornerback Mike Hilton, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers his first 4 years of his career, got his first ever pick six at any level of football against the Pittsburgh Steelers late in the first half on Sunday. I believe there was 30 seconds left in the second quarter. That put the Bengals up 31-3. Mike Tomlin doesn't like to run the ball.
He's gotta get Big Ben's gotta go. He's just gotta retire.
Big Ben didn't look great. He threw for 263, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Had a QBR of 28.
I feel like that's holding Mike Tomlin back so much. It's just that the Ben Roethlisberger legacy hanging over his head. And once he's gone, maybe we can see the Mike Tomlin that we all know and love again.
Like, give the ball. The Steelers across the whole team of Najee Harris, Kalen Ballage, Benny Snell, and Anthony McFarland ran the ball 15 times for 51 total yards. Najee Harris had 8 of those 15 carries for 23. Like, Bengals, all I got is they finally looked like a real football team, not just trying to win off of Joe Burrow throwing the ball a shit ton.
Yeah.
Some of the Bengals' losses, the loss to Chicago, they didn't run the ball a lot. They did not run the ball well. Their loss to the Packers, didn't run the ball well. Loss to the Jets, they did not run the ball well. They barely ran the ball at all, in fact. The loss to the Browns, didn't run the ball at all. Their win against the Ravens, I was not convinced after their win against the Ravens.
Nope.
Because you can't rely on your quarterback to throw for 420 every game. Throwing the ball 40 times when not having a run game, it's hard to just be confident. And right now, this Bengals team looks good, and they might have a test, or I don't think it's might. I think they are gonna have a test this week against the Chargers. But Jesus God, I'm excited. This is the first time I'm able to say I'm actually excited about a Bengals team. Moving on, and Pittsburgh might have a losing season this year for the first time under Mike Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, Tampa Bay beat Indy 38-31. All I gotta say about this game, run Jonathan Taylor more, Frank Wright.
Just run every play.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say about that game. Let's keep going on.
I don't have. If I have anything, I'll say it. But with these games, the rest of these games, I don't have much.
Miami beat Carolina 33-10. Cam got benched. Christian McCaffrey's done for the season.
And now there are whispers that Carolina wants to trade Christian McCaffrey in a package for Deshaun Watson.
Huh.
Yep. That's the thing.
New England beat Tennessee 36-13.
New England looks real, man.
Yes, they do.
Bill Belichick.
Axis of evil is alive in New England.
I say we all, but I feel like a lot of people owe Bill Belichick an apology for saying that last year and what was going on last year with that team. Oh, it was always Tom Brady. It was Bill Belichick's still an absolute football genius.
Yep. New York Giants beat Philadelphia 13-7. No one cares.
I mean, we do in the sense of what the hell, Philly? Oh my God damn.
Yeah. Atlanta beat Jacksonville 21-14.
Pitbull.
The New York Houston, we got problems.
I mean,
they've had problems, but they got even more now.
They lost to a Jets team that didn't want to win that game.
Sam Darnold threw an interception off the back of his running back.
Sounds like a Cade McNamara thing minus the interception.
Sam Darnold's running back was trying to block for him. Because he was...
It really is Cade.
Yeah, it was a Cade McNamara. It wasn't even a Cade McNamara because Zach Wilson shovel passed it.
Yeah, you won't see Cade do that.
He literally underhand shovel passed it into the back. It bounced off the back of his defender, of his running back, and was intercepted.
I don't know.
Houston still lost.
That interception was really bad. I don't know if it's worse than the Patrick Mahomes interception from earlier in the year. They're neck and neck, though.
I think Zach Wilson's interception was worse. Denver beat LA.
Goddamn Jets.
Houston still lost though, 21-14. Denver beat the LA Chargers 28-13. Aaron Rodgers and his...
I'm out on believing on the Chargers. They're way too inconsistent. Can't do it anymore. Can't do it.
Fair. Aaron Rodgers and his bad toe beat the Rams 36-28. All I gotta say, what the fuck was Matt LaFleur doing at the end of that game? What was that call? Or not Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, I'm sorry. What the fuck was that call, Sean McVay, at the end of that game?
Good question.
That's
Wasted 20 seconds. Wasted 20 seconds for no reason.
Yeah.
Rams are 0-3 since acquiring Odell Beckham and Von Miller.
Yes. Remember when that happened 3 weeks ago, and remember how we said, watch out, this Rams team could be good?
I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, I was wrong too, because I agreed with you.
We're very wrong.
We were very, very wrong. San Francisco beat Minnesota 34-26. Watch out for the 49ers.
All of a sudden, back from the dead. San Fran.
Yeah. The Cleveland Browns are back to the same old Browns. They suck. They lost 16-10 to Baltimore. This game...
Lamar Jackson threw 4 picks, and the Browns couldn't win.
This game was terrible.
Yep. Ass.
Everything that I said about the Browns at the beginning of the season, I was wrong.
One might say this game was massive ass.
Confirmed. There's no might say. It was yes.
Yep.
And the final game of the NFL week happened on Monday night, and it was ass too. Seattle.
Thank you, football team.
Lost to Washington, 15-17.
Russell Wilson ain't right. I have a feeling, rushed him back.
Yeah.
There is no way that in 4 weeks of being out Russell Wilson has turned into just trash. Like, he's not right. The rest of that Seattle team is not good. Obviously, we saw what they did without Russ, but the Russ that we know and love, or know and hate, I suppose, depending on who you're a fan of. That ain't the Russell Wilson I know.
Yeah, that's not. Pete Carroll rushed him back trying to save his job or something, or Russell Wilson came back too early. I don't know. Russell Wilson himself came back too early. I don't know.
Pete Carroll ain't getting fired, let's be honest. But I mean, I think Russ rushed himself back. He wanted to get back in the game the same game he got injured.
Yeah.
And then he was out for 4 weeks. Like, I think he came back way too early. I think Seattle just needs to shut him down. The season's a wash. Just do what you can to get the best draft pick possible.
Yep. And now, that's your NFL recap. Final score, by the way, if I didn't say it, was 15-17 Washington.
And even with that tiny 1-point spread in favor of the football team, they covered.
Yeah.
Let's go, football team. Hey, I might have to ride the football team. I don't know.
And then with that being said, it's time for the picks. I am 106-94 in the NCAA picks. Jordan is 105-95. Yeah, 95.
We both had phenomenal weeks in our 20-pick week.
And I'm very glad we do not have 20.
16-4. And you went 14-6.
And I am glad we do not have 20 games this week.
Only 12 this week. Because
I don't think we can do. Well, I don't think we can do 20 in college ever again.
Ever again.
That was too many.
15's a solid number. There were just too many good games I thought to pick, and well, you know, what happened.
And then you threw Clemson in there just to make me pick make a choice.
You could have picked Clemson.
As you probably always will.
I mean, you won't pick Clemson, so I might as well. I've been down for literally like the entirety of this season.
Yeah.
So I might as well. You should just pick Clemson. These last few weeks, you should just pick Clemson. Western Kentucky and UTSA, whatever the fuck this conference is.
The USA.
Yes, Conference USA. Yes, this is a Conference USA championship game. And we have a pick'em.
Taysom Hill apparently threw 4 interceptions, by the way.
Huh. Tonight?
Yes.
Good Lord. Still only won by 10? Dallas, God. Jesus.
Yep. This is the Ryan Conference USA Championship.
Western Kentucky is the half-point favorite at 8-4. UTSA, after the disastrous loss to North Texas, is somehow the half-point dog at, well, CBS says 11-0. They're 11-1. 83% of the people are on UTSA.
It is very hard to beat the same team twice. UTSA beat Western Kentucky earlier this year. So, knowing that and how difficult it is to beat the same team twice, I want Western Kentucky and their quarterback who throws for 8 bazillion yards.
Yeah, he did torch MSU and a lot of other teams along the way. A lot of other teams along the way.
It's hard to beat the same team twice. So give me Western Kentucky.
But I'm on UTSA.
Especially after how UTSA looked on Saturday.
I'm on UTSA. I have no rhyme or reason. Just better record. Presumptively better team. Give me the fighting whatevers of UTSA.
Roadrunners.
Sure. The Pac-12 championship game. Number 10, Oregon, 9-2. They are 2.5-point dogs to number 17 Utah because Utah beat Oregon badly for their second loss of the year. What do you say? This is a game. You're in a conundrum here. Hard to beat the same team twice, but it's Oregon.
It is very hard to beat the same team twice. Do you have anything else to say about this game?
I mean, I could bring the people into it if you want.
If you want to, this is your segment.
55% of the people are on the Oregon Ducks.
Some people say I'm a man of the people.
Not a lot of disparity there.
Some people say I'm a man of the people. And they are wrong in this case. It is very, very difficult to beat the same team twice. But that Oregon defense is fucking terrible. And if this spread was a bit different, I would maybe contemplate taking Oregon. But in college, this is essentially a pick'em. Oregon just looks so bad. They gave up 24 to Washington State and never really were they beat Washington State by 2 scores, but that game was questionable at points. They obviously lost to Utah 38-7. They only beat Oregon State by 9. They beat Washington, who is terrible, and Washington can't score fucking points. They beat Washington by 10. Their last good game was against Colorado on October 30th. And that they beat them 52-29. Oregon's bad. So give me Utah.
I wish I could take Oregon. I really do. But the way they looked against Utah, and remember, that wasn't that long ago. That was 2-3 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Not a long time ago.
2 weeks.
You're not going to be 4 touchdowns and a field goal better 2 weeks removed from the same team. It's just not going to happen. Give me Utah. The spread's incredibly low. It should be way higher, honestly. Maybe then I'd consider Oregon, but I can't right now. This is somehow the MACtion Conference Championship.
Got ourselves some action on a Saturday this week, no less.
On a Saturday. Kent State at 7-5. They're -2.5 against Northern Illinois. Let me bring up the matchup analysis if my Wi-Fi will allow it. Rocky Lombardi is questionable with an undisclosed injury. Also, just banged up on offense in general. Kent State has nothing on the injury report. Rocky Lombardi, Cole Tucker at wide receiver, and Tyrese Ritchie at wide receiver. And then Harrison Whaley, probably pronouncing that name wrong, but that's what Northern Illinois got going on. No injury. How can Kent State not have a single injury?
I have no.
Does that make sense? Huh?
I have no clue.
No clue. Kent State -2.5.
With Rocky Lombardi questionable, I can't take Northern Illinois. I've been a fan of Northern Illinois this year. I've even had money. I've even had actual bets involved, not just here in the picks. I've had actual bets on them.
I mean, I'm sure those worked out well for you, but why?
Most of them have worked out well for me because they've just been money line, not to cover spreads. But with Rocky Lombardi questionable and that backup quarterback, not it. In fact, he was so not it that when they played Western this past week, Western beat them 42-21. Their backup quarterback, what's his name? Ethan Hampton.
Wish I could tell you.
I only know that because I have it up right now. 4 for 10, 23 yards.
Just solid MAC numbers right there.
Yeah. So give me Kent State. I can't take Northern Illinois with Rocky Lombardi questionable.
everything. I mean,
I could be wrong on this.
Not even just if Rocky Lombardi was the only one out, then I'd say, yeah, okay, maybe. You got 2 wide receivers out. You got your running back out. I can't take NIU. Can't do it. Give me Kent State. Spread's tiny. MAC championship. I mean, upsets in a way. The people are not on our side. Only 24% of the people are on Kent State, but we're riding that together. The Big 12 championship game. Number 9 Baylor at 9-2. They are plus 5.5. Heading. Well, I don't know where the Big 12 championship game is played. I should just nix that from everything other than the Big 10. I know where that's at.
AT&T Stadium.
Oh, Dallas?
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, Arlington technically, but yes.
Jerry World.
Yeah.
Number 5 Oklahoma State is minus 5.5 against number 9 Baylor.
So, I said it earlier. Notre Dame could have been in with Brian Kelly. No idea why I'm coughing so much. Sorry.
Dry air. It's cold up here in Michigan.
Very. A combination of 2, 3, 4, 5 losing. Notre Dame could have been in.
Will number 5 lose?
I don't think so. Yes, it is hard to beat the same team twice, and yes, Oklahoma State and Baylor last played each other in week 4. Or week 5, something like that. Let's see. Week 5, so it's been a while.
And Oklahoma State's got a hot since then.
But Oklahoma State beat Baylor back then, too.
I mean, yes.
And Oklahoma State's even more hot, other than their weird loss to Iowa State. So give me...
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Oklahoma State. I love me that Mike Gundy sound clip.
I'm a man! I'm 40! No matter how old that clip is, still doesn't get old.
God, I love it. I love it.
I'm on Oklahoma State too. They are, I think, just a better team. They were a better team than Oklahoma. They're a better team than Baylor.
Yeah, and, I would love to see some chaos this weekend. Don't get me wrong; it'd be fun.
I don't expect there to be much.
Neither do I.
Honestly, I really don't. Give me OK State minus 5.5. What I believe is a Mountain West. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. At Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California.
You've made that up.
Nope, I wish.
You can't convince me you made that up. I don't care.
Do you need a screenshot?
It's photoshopped. I don't care. Utah State, 9-3 on the year. They're plus 5.5, taking on, unbelievably, Brady Hoke, 11-1, number 19 in the land, San Diego State. Are you about to pick a Brady Hoke team?
Did you ever think you would take Brady Hoke in anything? Did you ever think Brady Hoke would be in a championship game, a conference championship game of anything?
No.
Did you think Brady Hoke would be head coach a team to 11-1?
In the Mountain West, maybe?
At Dignity Health Sports Park at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on December 4th on Fox.
Why is this on Fox?
In Carson, California. Because it's that. I
don't know. No to none of it. Look.
Give me Brady Hoke's team. I can't use my tried and true. It's hard to beat the same team twice here because Utah State and San Diego State haven't played each other. Give me Brady Hoke. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Look, I wouldn't say that Brady Hoke could win a conference championship in a Power 5 conference. Ain't in one, though.
I would agree with that statement.
San Diego State, -5.5. 90% of the people are on San Diego State, by the way.
Fair.
What conference is this? Is this the Sun Belt?
Sun Belt at Cajun Field in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh God. Well,
this is a home game for Louisiana.
Like, is that their actual stadium?
I think so.
Appalachian State,
it very much is.
Who's caused us some terror along the way in this college football season, beating they beat Liberty or Coastal Carolina.
Coastal.
One of the two. one of our teams that have been close to our heart all year long.
Beat Coastal.
Appalachian State is -2.5 at 9-2 against the number 24 in the land, 11-1 Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. Who do you got?
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Oh no.
I'm not taking Appalachian State.
Okay.
I'm taking Louisiana. I can't believe I'm taking a Brady Hoke team who beat Liberty and caused us some harm. And well, Brady Hoke. Brady Hoke's caused you a lot of or not Brady Hoke, Rich Rod.
All right, yeah, he's Louisiana Monroe. He's not with the Ragin' Cajuns.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm not taking a Rich Rod team, so I don't feel as bad about this.
All right, I'm on Louisiana as well.
All right, yeah.
Well, the game that could very well drop Alabama out of the college football playoff, number 1 in the land, Georgia -6.5 against the number 3 Crimson Tide.
This game is in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yep.
This game can be played anywhere. Literally anywhere. Did you say the spread?
6.5 Georgia.
That's my pick. Alabama might score 3 points.
This game could be played tomorrow. Georgia would win. This game could be played Saturday, which it will. Georgia would win. This game could be played Sunday. Again. Now, I'm not talking to just the day of the week. I'm talking they can play this game 3 straight days, and Georgia's winning. It's the way I feel about Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah.
And the way that game went.
Yeah.
That game could be played again. And Michigan wins. Same with Georgia.
Yeah.
The way that Georgia's defense is on another level. Like, Michigan's defense is good. Georgia's defense is ridiculous. I don't even know how. I don't know why CBS only has Georgia listed as 11-0. They are indeed undefeated.
They're 12-0.
Give me Georgia. It's not even a question.
Will Georgia punt this game?
Yeah, they'll punt.
Will they punt more than once?
Maybe. I mean, Michigan punted twice.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Will Alabama score a touchdown?
Ooh. I would say yes.
Okay.
This game to me feels 30-10.
Okay.
For
Georgia
reason,
might punt just for fun. That's time. You're not wrong.
You know,
I wouldn't be shocked. Georgia's up that big just to.
Game might be. I said the game might finish 30-10. They might punt late in that game, and then all of a sudden, Alabama goes down the field, scores a touchdown. Onside kick recovered by Alabama, and they kick a field goal as time expires to feel good about themselves. I don't know.
30-13.
No. It's 30-0. Touchdown field goal for no reason.
To make it 30-10.
The SWAC conference championship.
We got some SWAC action.
Somehow allows us to pick Prairie View A&M going up against Prime and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is minus.
No, not Jacksonville State. Just Jackson State.
I'm dumb. Jackson State
at Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium at 4 p.m. December 4th, 2021 on ESPN2.
Somehow on ESPN2.
In Jackson, Mississippi.
Good Lord above. I'm going to bring the people in. You want to know how many percentage, the percentage of people picking Prairie View A&M?
Hit me. I mean, I could see it, so I know.
I know you can, but the rest of the people can't. In the stream, on the podcast, 5% of the people are on Prairie View A&M.
Some people might call me a man of the people.
Oh, boy.
In this case, they're right. Give me prime time. Give me Dion, who's in that little wheelchair right now, recovering from foot surgery. Give me fucking Deion Sanders. Dion, you're going to be coaching in a school that isn't Division II soon, I think, brother.
Fucking hell, I don't know. He loves Jackson State.
That is true.
I don't know. He might stay there forever and power them up to a D1 school. I don't know. The American. Number 21, Houston. 11-1 takes on number 4, Cincinnati. 12-0. Houston is plus 10.5. Cincinnati has trouble covering. Who do you got?
This is one of those stupid conference championship games that doesn't take place at a neutral site.
Really? This is a home game for Cincinnati? What?
Yep, because the American Athletic is dumb.
That sucks ass.
Yes, it does. Was it good? Would it change my pick? No, give me Cincinnati.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
Cincinnati needs to go out and win by more than 10.
If they come out and lay an egg, do they drop from the top 4?
Yes.
Not lose.
Yes.
Not lose.
100% yes.
But just don't. Okay.
Not in favor of Ohio State, but Oklahoma State if Oklahoma State wins.
Oh, I mean, Oklahoma State and Notre Dame have first bids, so.
Yes. Even though I could see Notre Dame losing that just because Brian Kelly gave a fuck you to the players.
Ohio State jumps Notre Dame for no reason whatsoever other than Brian Kelly left. Oh,
I would hate that.
I love your. I mean,
I would 100% hate it.
I hate it. But
it's not going to happen.
I love the Ohio. I would love the not the Ohio State misery, the Notre Dame misery.
I mean, everybody would. Like, the only people who don't hate Notre Dame are Notre Dame fans.
Pretty much. I'm on Cincinnati too. I don't see it. The number's weird. I would love if this is 9.5. I would for sure take Cincinnati. The number is very strange, and it really made me want to pick Houston just because the odds are not good on that. But Cincinnati, they have so much to play for.
They need this.
They need this so bad. Well, the ass conference.
Why is this a game? I mean, I know why it is. It has to be.
The ass conference championship is between number 15 and 16 in the country. 15, Pitt. 16, Wake Forest. Spread, 3.5, Pitt. Let's not spend any more time on this than we have to. Who you got?
This game's being played in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium. That's all I got. No one really cares. This game's terrible. Give me Kenny Pickett and Pitt.
I'm still Why is Pitt listed at 9-2? You're missing a game again, CBS. Wake Forest can score a lot of points.
So can Pitt.
Spread. So can Pitt. I was getting there. The spread's not big enough for me to take Wake Forest. Might be the death of me. I feel like if any conference championship game is gonna be a bit weird, it's probably gonna be this one. Just because ass conference, just what happens. But I'm on Pitt too. The game I've been waiting to say on this podcast for a very, 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 very long time.
5 years.
I don't care. Well, 5 years of the podcast. Michigan's first trip to the Big Ten championship game in its history.
Yes.
10-1 on the year. The number 2 Wolverines are minus 10.5 against number 3 Iowa. 10-1. Jesus, they're 11-1. CBS got me.
Iowa's not number 3 either.
They're number 13. I was in the midst of being confused about the record, and I misspoke.
I was gonna say, when did Iowa jump to 3? Holy shit, that's a beating Nebraska. You jumped to 3. Wow.
Week 4.
Right.
Michigan minus 10.5 in Indy in a house of Peyton Manning built. Michigan wearing the whites. I'm hoping blue pants because Michigan in blue pants is undefeated. All time, as far as I'm concerned. I looked into that in the Michigan uniform database and could not find another instance of wearing blue pants prior to 2014 when we beat Penn State in a night game at the Big House wearing those god-awful Adidas uniforms. And then 4-0 this year. Blue pants might be the way to victory. Michigan minus 10.5.
So, were you going to say anything else?
I feel like you would love to pick against Michigan, but can you?
We'll get to that in a second. I, as literally everybody on this who's ever listened to this podcast knows, do not get into the uniform talk very much.
Oh, I do.
At all. I don't. Far from it, actually. So, what I will say, the University of Michigan Wolverines will be wearing patches on their jersey honoring the victims of the Oxford High School shooting that happened earlier this week.
It sure will.
Happened on Tuesday, actually, to be exact. Good on them. That's all I got on that. Good on them. You're doing something good for the community.
Yes.
The state of Michigan.
There is a block O appearing on Michigan's jerseys.
Yes.
Think about that. I mean, it's one of those things that's just bigger than sports, man.
It's bigger than football at this point.
Just the worst situation, and I really just hope, more so than being just a Michigan fan, I just hope that, Michigan football can maybe bring somebody in that community some bit of joy.
Yeah, I do too.
Everything like that.
I do too. I also I agree. This is transcending sports. The Michigan Wolverines are continuing to do stuff for the community. I don't really know how close Oxford is. It's a suburb in the Detroit area. I know that much.
Is, but I mean, Ann Arbor's not a very long drive
away
from Detroit whatsoever.
So did want to get that out there. Good look by Michigan. Good play by them. If there's anybody out there who dislikes this, I want to meet them and I want to punch them in the fucking teeth.
I haven't. honestly, I haven't seen anybody. Like, I have seen so many Ohio State fans even come in to post about that patch that they're wearing and just say, "Hey, look, great on you guys."
Yeah,
like that's great stuff.
I've seen it.
And
I've seen so many people complimenting it, and I'm sure there is some idiot out there that doesn't like it, whether it's a Michigan fan or an Ohio State fan or anybody. And I want to meet them, and I want to punch them in the fucking teeth, and I want to knock their fucking teeth out.
If those people exist, I will be right there with you. I haven't seen them yet.
Because
a lot of people right now are really just loving this and just want to, be a part of any sort of healing process that you can be. I haven't seen a single person hating on it. I'm sure there's that one moron out there, but
so
that,
with that being said,
good stuff.
To the football game, and again, good stuff to Michigan. I can't pick Iowa.
I mean, so hear me out. Iowa.
I could see this game now. I will say I could see this game being like, I could be wrong and Iowa covers. I could see this game being like 17-10. I could see this game being really low scoring, or I could see Michigan blowing Iowa out.
By the way, remember that guy I mentioned in Stupid People Saying Stupid Things that said that Cade McNamara was, in his mind, Tom Brady?
He does not like these jersey patches.
No.
Oh.
Not that.
Oh, okay.
He also made a similar another comment on that same post, and then that he said that Iowa is a tough matchup for Michigan, and would you like to know the reason as to why?
Sure.
The first thing out of two that he listed.
Run defense.
The other was just defense, period. The first reason he listed that this is a tough matchup for Michigan is that Iowa has a good kicker. But what can you expect from a man with a profile picture of the old school 13-star Union Jack? Yeah, no.
Has a good kick. No, they have a good punter. They probably have a good kicker too, but
he said kicker. I hope they have a good punter because they might need it. I'm on Michigan. I mean, Iowa's got problems left and right. Spencer Petras will start. He's been banged up. He hasn't been effective. And you saw what the Michigan defense did to C.J. Stroud. So, if they can do that to C.J. Stroud, they can do that certainly to Spencer Petras. Give me Michigan. For my sanity, I need this game. Whatever happens in the playoffs after that, it is what it is. I think we'll probably... I'm where I'm at right now and where the playoff is playing out in my head, we probably wind up in the national championship game. Might get slaughtered by Georgia. It is what it is. At that point.
I'm going to say one thing about this game. And this is not, I'm not saying this because I'm an Ohio State fan. I would say this no matter who's in the Big Ten championship representing the East. This is probably going to be the second least watched game of the weekend.
Maybe.
Because the Big
Michigan
Ten
fans are out there, though. Iowa fans, I don't know.
Well, the Big Ten West just continues to provide shit team after 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 shit team.
Have they won a title game?
Not since it was the Big Ten West.
Fitting.
The Big Ten needs to realign the conferences.
They do, but at the same time, like geographically they make sense, but like I want the leaders and legends minus the dumb names.
Like Ohio State and Michigan have to be in the same division, I think. I feel like putting them in the conference championship game devalues that game itself, unless you move the Ohio State Michigan game into October. Having that be back-to-back weeks.
No.
Exactly. You can't have that be Ohio State Michigan at the final end of the year if they're in separate divisions. If Ohio State and Michigan are in separate divisions, they would then have to play each other 7 days later. You can't have that.
No, you can't. And I'm fairly certain, if I remember correctly, Leaders and Legends did that.
Yes, it just never happened because
Michigan was ass pants.
Yes.
But anyway, let's move on. I got Michigan, you got Michigan.
Yep.
And then for whatever reason, I shouldn't even have put this game in here. It's not a conference championship game. It's just a game that's happening. There's no reason.
It's happening because it was postponed from 3 weeks ago because of COVID.
Oh, okay. At least we have a reason. I just thought this game was scheduled for this.
No, I had to go Google this when I was making my picks yesterday. It's like, why the fuck is this game being played?
USC. Lincoln Riley ain't on the sideline. That's for damn sure. He might be on the sideline. He ain't coaching. I don't know. USC is presumptively on the road to play Cal. Both teams are 4-6. USC plus 2.5. No reason to spend any time on this. Who you got?
So I just said that Michigan-Iowa was going to be the second least watched game of the week.
This would be the first one. Nobody's going to get it.
Is going to be the least watched.
11 p.m. start?
11 p.m. Eastern.
Gross.
On Fox Sports 1. No one's going to watch this game. Cal's going to win. Nobody fucking cares. Let's move on.
The NFL picks.
NFL picks.
The NFL.
I am 92-88. Jordan's 88-92. Let's go.
Yeah, rough college season, or rough NFL season, rather. College is still up in the air. I'm not sure if CBS is going to allow us to pick Army-Navy again next week. Not sure. We're picking it regardless. It's going to count for the record. But I'm not sure if CBS will allow it. That being said, NFL, we got a ways of the season to go. I can make up ground. But right now, things are rough. Cowboys-Saints is final. 27-17 Cowboys. You were on the Cowboys, I would imagine.
Yes. I
was too. Moving on. The Arizona Cardinals are on the road heading to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. Bears plus 7.5. And the Cardinals are looking potentially like they could get Kyler Murray back this week.
It's looking like they're gonna both get Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Justin Fields, unknown. So give me Arizona.
Oh, right, I forgot. I mean, I picked Arizona, but I forgot about Andy Dalton. Yeah, Arizona, easy. Colts, fresh off the loss to the Bucs. They are on the road, taking on the Houston Texans. Texans plus 8.5. They're putrid. You love Jonathan Taylor. You're taking the Colts, I know.
I didn't even have to say it, so yeah. Yeah.
I'm on the Colts. I'm on the Colts as well. I mean, these games, just these early games, I mean, what the fuck you want me to do?
I will say, if you have $14.55 and you're in the Houston area, go watch Jonathan Taylor run the rock.
Please do that for the Detroit game coming up. Look up the ticket price. It's a home game for Detroit as well.
I have it right here in front of me.
All right.
Because CBS has them on the side. That's how I know all of these. Like CBS's website has them right there on the side.
I use the app, so.
Oh.
The LA Chargers, they're kind of a mess. They're 6-5. They're on the road taking on the Bengals. Bengals minus 2.5. Do you back your team or do you fade them? Who we got?
I'm going with the Bengals. Like I said earlier, I'm excited about this Bengals team for the first time in a long time. Give me Cincinnati.
I mean, you had zero faith early in the year, and I don't blame you. But the Bengals might be for real. I feel like they could beat just about anybody. we move on to the Detroit game. The Minnesota Vikings, who used the last-second field goal to beat the Detroit Lions earlier in the season. Now we are at home. Us Lions are plus 7.5, and the people. This is notable because the Lions are 7.5-point dogs. Not a favorable number by any means. 42% of the people are on the Lions.
So here's the thing. Even with 7.5, so the Lions could lose by 7 and cover.
Yes.
Their last 5 against the spread, the Lions are 0-4-1.
According to CBS.
Yeah.
0-4-1? No. They didn't push. They tied. That's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know how they...
CBS, with those records, is dumb.
So it should be 1-4, according to CBS.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The live odds for this game, Detroit is now only a 7-point dog.
Oh, I don't like that lack of a half point.
Give me Minnesota either way.
Odds by Caesar Sportsbook over there on CBS. Hashtag not sponsored. I'm on the Lions, man. I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret it or I'm going to love it. Taking the Lions. The New York Football Giants in an absolute shit bowl. 4-7 Giants, 5-7 Dolphins. Dolphins minus 2.5.
Give me Miami. This game's going to be terrible, but give me Miami.
Miami. Eagles, fresh off a disastrous loss to the Giants. Well, they're taking on the other New York team, the Jets. The Eagles minus 6.5. You couldn't pay me to watch this game.
Somehow tickets are starting at $53.
I would say because it's New York, but it's not New York. It's East Rutherford, New Jersey.
You know how much you would need to pay me to watch this game?
An undescribable amount.
Significantly more than $53. The Jets suck. Give me Philadelphia.
I want Philly too. There's no way they're that bad again. Believe it or not, Giants are better than the Jets. I mean, they're both putrid, but still. Bucks at Falcons. Bucks minus 10.5. Funky number. Who we got?
Give me Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Easy. I mean, the Falcons stink. Why is this a game? The Jacksonville Jaguars. They are plus 12.5. Taking on the LA Rams. Kind of at a downward spiral. Seems like the game that LA needs. Who you got?
LA needs this game. This is the biggest spread we have. Give me LA.
LA fucking Rams. The football team. Whoa. Fresh off a big win to put them into a wild card spot, believe it or not. They take on the Raiders, who just beat Washington's division rival, the Cowboys. Raiders only minus 2.5. Vegas believing in the football team.
The Raiders are a mess. Yes, the Raiders just beat the Cowboys, but the Raiders are a mess. Give me Washington. I can't believe I'm doing this to myself.
Believe I'm doing it either. We're on the same page on a lot of these. Give me the football team. AFC North Gong Show. Lamar Jackson, fresh off throwing 4 picks against the Browns, takes on a potentially slightly better or slightly worse team in the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. Steelers plus 3.5.
Pittsburgh needs this game.
Mm-hmm.
In a bad way. And it's only 3.5, so Baltimore, who has had trouble scoring points lately, could win by a field goal and not cover. Apparently, the live spread, Pittsburgh is up to 4.5. I'm probably not going to touch this game with a 75-foot pole, but we'll talk about that on Backdoor Cover. And 17 hours ish.
Roughly.
Give me Pittsburgh though. Pittsburgh needs this game.
They need it.
And I definitely think they'll cover at least if they lose.
They need it, but they ain't getting it. I'm on Baltimore.
Okay.
What they just did against the Bengals is one of the worst. Like, that's Lions-esque in terms of just how bad you could possibly play, and they found a way to do it.
I mean, the Lions played that bad against the Bengals, I guess, too, technically.
And yet, that game was closer. Go figure.
Yeah.
Give me the Ravens.
Yeah. I damn near just talked. Had I not said it, I would have just talked myself out picking Pittsburgh, but I'm not changing my pick. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be that guy.
Seahawks plus 2.5.
San Francisco's the hottest team in the NFL right now.
Roughly.
Seattle's dead.
Dead.
There's no roughly about that one. Give me San Francisco.
That's easy. San Fran. Sunday Night Football, Broncos and Chiefs. I'm gonna have to bring the people in on this one. 9.5 is the spread in favor of Kansas City. The people, however, 52% of the people are on the Denver Football Broncos.
Denver is they're a bunch of pretenders.
Yes, but the Chiefs might be as well.
Denver started off 3-0, and we thought, wow, this team could be onto something. Then they lost 4 straight, and then they beat Washington and the Cowboys inexplicably. Then they lost to the Eagles inexplicably. And then they beat Kansas City, or not Kansas City, they beat the Chargers inexplicably. There's a lot of inexplicablies there. I know. Because I can't explain this team. Kansas City does not cover a lot, but give me Kansas City. This Denver team is not good, and they're confusing on top of that.
They don't cover a lot, but they've been covering a lot lately.
Yes.
So, I am on Kansas City. Denver is hot ass.
Yes.
I don't know what else to do but pick KC. Monday Night Football, probably the best game of the week.
Yes.
The red hot Patriots, they're on the road, taking on the Bills. Big division implications heading in here. Bills minus 3.5.
I've been on the Matthew Judon train for a while.
Yes, sir.
I'm staying on.
I love Matthew Judon.
I do too. Give me some Matthew Judon. Give me the Patriots.
Patriots as well. I love the Bills. I've loved the Bills all year, but the Patriots are the hot hand. Have to take them, and those are the picks.
It is time for champ and chump of the week. You start us off this week.
Who else am I going to pick? It's Michigan football. Champ of the week, Jim Harbaugh. Exercising those demons. Doing what people said you couldn't do. Not just Paul Feinbaum, but even local media as well. They said you were incapable of beating Ohio State. That's the Paul Feinbaum quote, echoed by so many people throughout however many of the last 3-4 years. Well, he fucking did it. He fucking did it. There was no nonsense. There was no Harbaugh stupidity in this game, which is just incredible. We've seen it this season, not on Saturday. Michigan football, but mainly Jim Harbaugh, my champ of the week.
I don't really have a champ of the week. in the traditional sense. At all. I don't. I'm not going to make it the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team. Even though I led the show off with thanking them.
I mean, you needed that bit of good.
I, however,
You really didn't. I mean, you could have suffered like me and just had 10 years of ineptitude from every single one of your teams, but for a normal person's sense, not a Detroit or Michigan sports fan, you probably needed that. We're used to it.
I am going a little bit different this week for Champ of the Week. My Champ of the Week is a person.
Okay.
Who is the reason this show actually exists and does most of the work for this show and Backdoor Cover.
Oh.
Who took time on Friday away from his family to make Backdoor Cover happen and do all of the graphics for this show. He did all the notes for this week, did all of the notes for last week. Yes, he overslept the show yesterday.
I actually did not oversleep. I just wasn't home.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Was not available yesterday, which is why we're doing the show a day late. Jordan's my champ of the week, and he got a win against Ohio State. He got to see Michigan beat Ohio State.
Does this week get any better? Oh, man. Well, I appreciate that. I did not expect that.
Like I said, if it honestly wasn't for you, this show probably wouldn't really happen, because even though most weeks I do get a good chunk of the notes together, you do all the graphics, and well, the past few weeks, this show...
Fighting through Adobe Spark posts, trying to bring me down.
You
did a week ago. Nothing worked a week ago. Yesterday, when I was getting all the graphics ready, it didn't want to work. But
like I said, you
forced it into submission.
You make this show happen. More often than not, this show just writes itself, and I don't have to do a lot of work. Even when I do write the notes, you do all of the notes for the for the preview shows. Every college football preview we did, you did the notes. The NFL preview you did the notes. The NHL preview we did when we had Jeff on back at the beginning of October, you did the notes. The Michigan State preview when we had Caleb on, you did the notes. The Michigan Ohio State preview, you did the notes. You do. What I have to do writes itself. You make this show happen. I'm just.
Hold on. I appreciate you a lot. I mean, hey, it ain't the House Divided podcast with the house not being divided. You play your part just as much as I do. So
in the sense, I'm the Pat McAfee here, where I'm just on the screen. You do all the behind the scenes work and make it happen. So you're my champ of the week.
Well, damn. Did not expect that.
That's it. Stuff, my champ of the week's really easy, but you go ahead. We already know who mine is because I said it earlier in the show.
I don't have a chump of the week anymore. I can't do it. I can't. After what you just said, I can't do that.
Who did you have beforehand?
I'm just gonna be an ass and say Ohio State.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair, considering I'm going the same route.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll let you dive into that.
I mean, mine's a bit.
I'm not gonna do it now.
Mine's a bit different. Mine is the Ohio State defensive coaches. You can go on to Twitter right now. My Twitter username, not my actual Twitter handle, but my Twitter username is fire all of the Ohio State defensive coaches. Mainly fire. Mainly.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Mainly fire. Mainly, I want Kerry Coombs gone. I want Matt Barnes gone, and I want Al Washington gone. They are the only three people in the entire universe, known and unknown universe, that didn't know Michigan was going to run the ball.
In the snow.
In the snow. With Cade McNamara as their quarterback. All three of them need to be gone.
I said to my family as we were watching the game. I mean, to be honest, there was only two of us watching the game. Everyone else kind of bailed out. But I said, I hope every snowflake that's hovering over the state of Michigan finds its way to Ann Arbor and goes into Michigan Stadium.
It didn't quite make it all the way to Ann Arbor. It stopped at Lansing.
It stopped in East Lansing of all places.
Fuck.
Yeah, they got way more snow than we did, but I
Holy
did say
fuck.
that. My uncle didn't express the same sentiment. I said, I hope it snows all day long and just covers the field and stuff. No. Why would you want to have all that snow? Because we don't throw the ball and Ohio State does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't feel like at the end of the day, whether or not, no matter how many, I say how many, there were a vocal minority, I will say, of Ohio State fans. And by vocal minority, I say, I don't know, I saw maybe 5 on Twitter anyway. I didn't look on Facebook. Anyway, there's people out there that believe this. That if that game is played with no snow, that it's a 40-28 Ohio State win.
No. Ohio State will probably score more points, but no, C.J. Stroud still threw for 400 yards.
Right. And you threw the ball 49 times.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
No.
I wanted more snow. It didn't matter.
It could have been snowing like it was in East Lansing, and Ryan Day probably would have still threw the ball 50 times.
Or ran Travion Henderson on 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
For a 1-yard gain.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Let's move on. My final thoughts on Chump of the Week. Kerry Coombs, I said it earlier. He was Chump of the Week after week 2 of the season. He was Champ of the Week mid-year because of the way he handled his essentially demotion. He's back to Chump of the Week. Matt Barnes, Chump of the Week. Al Washington, Chump of the Week. Harbaugh wants to talk about anybody in being born on 3rd and thinking they hit a triple. It's Al Washington. Al Washington got hired as the Ohio State linebackers coach a couple years ago. And the first couple years I liked him. First, because he came in with the Greg Madison. Pattison, something, Greg something. Madison. Yeah.
Also a Michigan guy.
Yep. He came in. I think he was just kind of a package deal with Madison.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because they got hired.
I didn't know of any sort of relationship between those two at the time, other than they both coached at Michigan. I don't know. I don't know, but they came in. They were announced on the same press conference, sitting next to each other. Must have been one of Madison's guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was amazed that Ohio State took Greg Madison. Michigan fans didn't even really like him, and we were ass at that time.
I don't really know why we took him.
But I mean, he necessarily the main issue. Kerry Coombs has some problems.
And well, he's not even at Ohio State. He wasn't there this year. He wasn't there this year.
Coombs or Washington?
Madison.
Oh, Greg Madison's gone.
Yeah. I liked Al Washington though, 2019 and then last year, but it's pretty easy to coach a bunch of guys that get drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Sure the fuck is.
Same thing with Kerry Coombs. He coached before he went to the NFL for a year. He was mainly the defensive backs coach at Ohio State until last year when Ryan Day brought him back in 2020 for last season. Up until he had left, he was phenomenal defensive backs coach. for all of those years when every year in Ohio State, at least 1 to 2 Ohio State defensive backs was getting taken in the first 2 rounds. Easy to coach guys like that.
R.I.P. Jeff Okudah.
That Coombs needs to go. Al Washington. Harbaugh wants to talk about someone being born on third base and thinking they hit a triple. Al Washington's that guy. He has done nothing for this program as a linebackers coach. He's not a good recruiter. He's not a good linebackers coach. He's done literally nothing for that program and was just handed 4 linebackers who are in the NFL, all playing right now.
Shit here either.
Actually, no.
You guys hired him.
One of those linebackers is currently on the IR, but was starting. And then Matt Barnes just needs to go also. One for the road.
What else am I gonna say? Big Ten championship game, 8:00, Fox, Michigan, Iowa.
800 commercials.
10. You're probably right, but I'm gonna suffer through it anyway because I don't care.
The game's gonna end at midnight.
If not past it.
As someone who has watched a lot of those games, I can confirm they end around midnight.
Just listeners of the House Divided podcast.
This is a big deal for you.
Even my podcast host, if he so chooses to do so, just wish me the best of luck. Because this Michigan team has given me emotional hell for 10 years.
Yes, they have.
Longer! It's even longer than 10 years. But it's been 10 years since we beat Ohio State. But we weren't in a position to win a Big Ten championship then. For the love of God, just keep me, I won't say prayers, but keep me in your thoughts. Because if Michigan loses this game, and now I didn't say it in the picks, Iowa is a professional Michigan season killer. The last time we were ranked this high, I mean, it was earlier in the season.
Iowa happened.
Who killed our season? Iowa.
Kirk Ferentz.
That was at home, though. We got a neutral site. We got a focused team. I'm fairly certain. I'm in my mind they got this. I wasn't certain that they had Ohio State. I thought that'd be a game. But they had them the entire duration of that game. Iowa comes around. They're a mess, honestly, if you look at it. But at the same time, they've been a mess previously, and they've killed us.
The biggest thing you have to worry about is the man named Kirk Ferentz.
It's just Kirk Ferentz is a phenomenal coach.
But
he's got a banged up Spencer Petras, who I don't know can make the necessary plays to stop what our defensive line can do. Ohio State honestly has a better defensive or offensive line than Iowa, and we ate them alive. I need this for my sanity. Listen, Michigan football, no Big Ten championship since the early 2000s. Michigan basketball has been successful in recent years. Yes, that's great. I have one team out of maybe 7. The Detroit Red Wings, full rebuild, finally getting back to the way they need to be. The Pistons haven't won a championship. They've won playoff appearances 2007. They haven't won a championship since 2003. The Red Wings last won their last championship in 2008. Had that playoff streak, but we didn't do a damn thing in the midst of it because it was at the tail end. We were ass. The Lions are the Lions. The Tigers failed with every possible opportunity with the team that they should have won a championship with. They didn't do it. for the love of everything that is holy, sports gods, let me have this. I have endured too much. Please. Big Ten championship. Just give me a Big Ten championship. If we get demolished by Georgia, because let's be honest, right now we're looking at matching up against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati, they might give us a game. I expect us to win that game, but 35-13 against East Carolina, not impressive. We should win that game. If we get demolished by Georgia, it is what it is. Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. We should, in theory, lose. But if we beat them, oh my God. I mean, I've celebrated Chelsea championships in the EPL. I love me some Chelsea. But nothing would compare to a championship from a team and success from a team that I haven't seen in my lifetime. Michigan has been dog shit in my lifetime. You know that 1997 championship that Michigan won, their last one? I was
2
years. I was 2 years old. Yeah. Well, 2.5. Give me that. But
okay, fair.
It's just sports gods, if you exist, please, just give me a win. That's all I got. One for the road. Big Ten championship. To see my dreams become reality.
Okay, mine is, well, I really don't want it to be this one, but it is.
Oh.
The F1 race, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It shouldn't be raced in Saudi Arabia. I don't like that it's raced here.
Lewis came out and said that he does not like that it's there.
Yep, and I agree.
I mean, we've been over this the last couple of weeks. I don't want it there either.
I don't want it there.
But it's such an important race. You can't help but pay attention. But
yeah, and it's December 5th, 12:30 p.m. Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Qualifying's gonna be not qualifying. FP1's gonna be starting soon, here in probably 12 hours. ESPN2.
Please let me be asleep by then.
ESPN2 Sunday. At Jeddah, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I again don't like it there, but Lewis is only 8 points behind Max. I just hope nothing. I hope this is just a straight good race. No shenanigans. No DNF by Lewis or Max. Because,
yeah, right. Make Abu Dhabi mean something.
Yeah. Well, if Lewis DNFs, then
that should show NASCAR. Like, you don't need a dumbass playoff system to have a championship mean something. Like just make it straight up. When things happen that are this good, they're special.
Yeah.
Not manufactured.
I hate the race. I hate the fact that the race is here. Actually, free practice 1 starts here in 7 hours. Free practice 2 starts in 11.
Do not let me be up by that point.
By 8:30.
Let me sleep in till like 11:30, please.
I hate that it's here, but that's my one for the road.
Fair one for the road. I mean, that championship battle, no matter how much you hate the race being there, and I do too, but this championship battle's too good to ignore. It really is. I wish it were somewhere else, but it's not. And we have to focus on where we're at and what we have in front of us in this we're on opposite sides of this, I do believe, because where would you describe your F1 fandom?
So I started watching F1 as Lewis was coming into F1.
The old McLaren Mercedes days.
Yes. So I do like Lewis. That's when I started watching F1.
I've watched F1 for a long time, on and off, but
I watched a little bit before that, but that's when I started watching like weekly.
My main point for being a fan of F1 was simply just Daniel Ricciardo and how much he appreciates NASCAR. And that it just kind of intertwined those two fan bases together a little bit. So I became a Daniel Ricciardo fan, which meant I became a Red Bull fan at the time. I'm still a Ricciardo fan, but Red Bull is still probably my team just because Max was there when Danny was there. And I would just love to see it, just because, Red Bull still is the underdog. Like, they're there.
I would love
right
to
now,
see
for Vegas right now. They're not the underdog, but
yeah,
they're there.
I will say that I'm going to go out and say this. I would love to see Max win, just so we can finally, hopefully, have people realize that Max is actually a good racer.
I think people are already there. I really do.
And not having this, oh, it's Max Verstappen. Like, Max is a good racer.
Just F1 fans. They're just dumb. Like, we talk about college football fans being dumb. F1 fans might be worse.
Motorsport fans in general are worse. But
yeah,
F1 fans are bad.
Dig into NASCAR comment sections. That post I mentioned earlier about Nashville Speedway, Bubba will still find a way to crash. Bubba Wallace hardly crashes ever. And if he does, it's usually someone else's fault. If you actually watch the races.
So, but that's the show.
It is the show.
Not much to say.
I could drag on this show for hours.
You could.
Because this is the show I've dreamed about for a long time.
I would just go to bed eventually.
Fair enough.
Just saying, I would eventually go to bed. And then I would make you do all the editing so it can actually fit onto an audio format.
I mean, might not even be something that I wouldn't do. Hell, let me rant forever. No, I'm kidding. All I have to say before we sign off, just to go blue on Saturday. Big lot of thoughts to the Oxford High School community. That just terrible situation. I don't know if anybody's seen the video of students that they recorded that whole situation, but it's frightening and it's just terrible, and we need to do something about it. But to make sure that this I won't say it doesn't happen again, but it's going to happen again, but just with less frequency. That's what we need.
Yeah, I echo that. Something. Thoughts and prayers to everyone affected in the Oxford community. There's not much else to say. This is just a horrible thing. Something needs to be changed. I'm not going to get here on this show and get up on a political soapbox and blame one party or the other. But at some point, our government has to come together at both the federal level, the state level. Both parties have to come together and find a way to make this happen less than it does.
I'm convinced that in its current structure, it's incapable of doing so, and we just need to change the structure of everything. Honestly, that's where we're at. Like, there is no reason that our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, said that this is strictly an American problem, and people took offense to that because it's well, here's this article about it, the school shooting happening in Russia. The frequency is the problem. And the frequency, how many times a year do we have to hear about things like this? Whether it's close to home or not, it doesn't matter. It's too much. And yet, political and some piece of paper that was written in the 1700s is stopping progress and that whole thing. We just can't stop letting kids die for no reason. I don't know. But 15, I've gone in
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. 34 school shootings since 2020.
Jesus.
Not all have had deaths, but
regardless,
it is an American problem.
It's an American problem.
Something needs to change.
It's just the frequency. Like,
so
it just sucks, but to end this show on a brighter note.
Yes.
Well, brighter note for me. Go Blue on Saturday. Just give me this, sports gods, please. I have suffered through enough. Just let me have it.
I want to see chaos this Saturday. Just to see.
Give me chaos everywhere else. Don't wish chaos on the Big Ten.
I want to see chaos this Saturday, solely just to see if the committee's actually going to follow through on what they said about leaving Notre Dame out just because Brian Kelly left.
I would appreciate that. That would be fun.
Because
just don't let it be Michigan.
Like I would appreciate to see some form of chaos. That's it though. That's the show. Thank you for making us part of your Wednesday afternoon into Thursday morning. We started into Thursday morning, or no, yeah, you're right. Thursday evening into Friday morning. We started a little late. Wow. Thank you for making us part of your evening, wherever you may be watching or listening, and however you may be watching and or listening. So, until next time, which will be backdoor cover here Friday night.
Yep.
Peace out. Stay classy. And see ya.